All right. Welcome to episode 3 of the Texas A&M coaching search within the last year, as BTTS just said. Yeah, we're doing it again. You guys know the news. You've been paying attention. It wasn't that surprising. We've been hearing rumblings about Buzz Williams flirting with the Maryland job that was anticipated to be opening. It happened today. Buzz Williams no longer at A&M, going to Maryland. A&M finds themselves in yet another coaching search. And this has been a topic of discussion that a lot of Aggies have been going through pretty much over the last couple of years. There were rumors last season of Buzz Williams looking elsewhere to shift his, coaching tenure to a new school. This was happening. It's been happening for a year now, and it finally happens after his second consecutive postseason run. 2 tournament wins in his 6 years at A&M. There was a lot to like about Buzz Williams, and I'm kind of conflicted about it. I like Buzz the man. I think Buzz Williams stood for a lot of really good things. He represented A&M really well. He was a good leader of the players. But it did kind of feel like his potential was capped, at least here. And look, I think a lot of Aggies will be okay with Buzz at Maryland. I think we'll root for him. We'll wish him the best. But I think we can all agree this time makes sense to move on. A&M was going to go through a major change regardless of whether or not Buzz Williams came back this year anyways, because you lose 8 seniors. You lose your entire rotation for the season that took you to a round of 32 game this year and not further than that. So you lose a decent crop of players that were beloved, players that we really liked, but a team that was somewhat also capped, kind of like Buzz himself. At least that's how we feel. The team had a lot of great hustlers, great personalities, great team players, but maybe lacked the offensive upside to get things done. So a reset was coming regardless, but now we get the full reset because A&M is in another coaching search. And I want to hear from you guys. It's a call-in show. If you want to call in, click that link that's pinned in the chat. You guys will be prompted to enter a waiting room, and I'll peel you guys in one by one to talk about what we saw today and where we go from here. I think Trev Alberts has a really big coaching search ahead of him, and things are maybe not as clear as they appear to be. I think a lot of Aggies would love to get a big name in here, but as I'll pull it up on screen now, because I think Robert Behrens of Good Bull Hunting brought up a really good point on Twitter today. And he said the Texas A&M, as Texas A&M embarks on a basketball coaching search, remember that Florida hired Todd Golden from the University of San Francisco, Bama hired Nate Oates from Buffalo, Tech hired McCaslin from UNT. The big name hire is not always the best one. So while this is a really, really big coaching search for Trev Alberts, I don't think things are going to be clear from day one, especially if you don't get that household name that a lot of Aggies are probably clamoring for. So I want to talk about that and hear from you guys. And this was supposed to be a baseball stream. I actually have the baseball game that just went first pitch seconds ago on the background screen. We're going to talk about this first, and we'll transition into a watch party. So if you guys want to stick around, watch some Aggie baseball, I'll throw the scoreboard onto the screen, and we'll do all of that. Thank you guys for being here today. If you guys could like and sub, that would help me greatly. BTTS says, not shocked. It is what it is. There's way too much turnover at A&M, but this will be yet another very important hire for Trev. And of course, most recent hire, Michael Early, not going so well. And let's just touch on that real quick. I don't think that was a controversial decision at the time. And I don't think anybody in their right mind who covers baseball, who knows the sport, who knows Early, who knows this team, would have predicted things to go this south. So I know we point at that recent hire as a data point as to why Trev Alberts has maybe struggled in his early time at A&M. I don't necessarily think that's fair. I think the navigation of now what is happening in baseball going forward will be a more appropriate thing to judge an AD on. But at the time, man, you were looking at the possibility of retaining all of your players by selecting Coach Early and potentially continuity in a very successful hitting team. And I think anybody would make that decision. It was also probably a discount compared to maybe getting a bigger name, and it was a move that made the fan base very happy at the time. And of course, it just didn't work out. So I'm not casting judgment there, but he will be judged based on the success of this next basketball coach. And let's just talk about it real quick, BTTS, now that you got me on this soapbox. So first of all, several names out there. Let's pull up a coach name list first because I'm not smart enough to drop these names off the cuff here. Let's pull up these names and see where we're looking here. I mean, Chris Beard's at the top of the list. Everyone's talking about Chris Beard. Great great coach. It would be a great hire on court for the program. I find myself leaning against this move, obviously because of the baggage. But I think this move, maybe not me, but it would alienate a lot of Aggies. I think a lot of Aggies, especially from what I've seen on Twitter today and whatever, take that with a grain of salt, particularly Aggie women, would not be happy with this given his history. And as great as it would be, I think a fan base that is already pretty shaken right now by way of, a lot of losing lately and the whole Schloss thing and going through the end of the Jimbo tenure and now basketball shortcomings. I think there's a lot of risk with this move, and he would be on the clock to perform right away, and I don't know if this program is in a place to perform right away. As good as it could be, I find this one with a lot of risk, but we'll see. This is all just, throwing names out there. There's no smoke behind these names. This is a CBS article put out there by Cameron Salerno, and a lot of these names match what we're talking about on Aggie, in the Aggie-verse, if you will. There's also Brad Underwood. I'll read you the article here, who burst onto the scene with his last success at Stephen F. Austin, been in Illinois since 17. Program has been to the NCAA tournament for 5 consecutive seasons under his watch. Porter Moser, been in Aggieland before. His wife is from College Station. Oklahoma reached the NCAA tournament for the first time in Moser's tenure this past season. A lot of up and down in Moser's time at A&M, at Oklahoma. I don't know if this one would make a lot of Aggies happy, but again, when you hire somebody, you have to be somewhat in wait-and-see mode. It could be a direction they go. Fred Hoiberg is one that we've heard a lot about. I think Aggies are pretty medium on this one as well. Been at Nebraska since 2019. The former Iowa State Chicago Bulls head coach helped Nebraska reach the tournament last spring for the first time in a decade. Obviously has a relationship with Trev Alberts. The Cornhuskers won 18 games this past season and missed out on the big dance after losing 5 consecutive games to end the regular season. Chris Jans out of Mississippi State. Another one we've been hearing a lot of. Won at least 20 games during his first 3 seasons at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs are coming off their 3rd consecutive appearance at the NCAA tournament. Before he arrived at Mississippi State, the Bulldogs reached the tournament in 3 straight seasons, only once years ago. And then the big one that I keep hearing a lot of, and I think a lot of Aggies would be pretty happy with, Grant McCasland out of Texas Tech. The wild card out of the group, one of the fastest rising coaches in the sport, and just helped Tech reach the Elite Eight. And of course, these are the big names. These are the big names that you would, want to see a team, a program with the backing that A&M does, maybe reach out to and at least test the waters in. But we're just shooting in the dark here. And again, like Robert Barron said, it's a really good point to bring up. A lot of the most successful up-and-coming coaches are up-and-comers. They're not guys who have established names. But it's a very important situation to navigate for an AD that is already under some heat from the fan base perspective. I personally don't know if that's entirely warranted because of what I said about early. He came in after the Jimbo, Elko, Mark Stoops situation, and this is really his first big coaching search / hire that wasn't kind of a no-brainer decision that I thought early might have been when it happened. So to a lot of Aggies that are on the fence about Trev Alberts, this is going to sway them one direction or the other. And, with the amount of turnover you have as a roster, I don't think we get answers necessarily next season. However, with the transfer portal and how quickly things can change and, how some basketball teams over the years in college have been able to just piecemeal teams together and make runs quickly, maybe one of these big names can put something together quickly for A&M. But you know what we have coming back, or what we thought we had coming back, in Farrell Payne, Solomon Washington, some incoming freshmen. You're dealing with some portal stuff right now that your season's over. That's starting to open up and heat up right now. It's going to be big to retain as much as you can of that, because when you lose a coach, a lot of those players are very, very loyal to a guy like Buzz Williams. So Farrell Payne, Solo Washington, those are going to be some tough guys to retain, especially given the close-knit nature of the team and what Buzz and these players meant to each other before. I mean, would you be surprised if any of those guys followed Buzz to Maryland? I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if I would blame them. That's what they were sold on. That's what the team was built around. It was that camaraderie. It was that closeness. So we could be looking at an entirely new team next season. And whichever coach they go with, and you hope it's the right guy, which again, we might not know right away, can either retain as much of that as possible or put something together. Let's keep going through the chat. I hope you guys are chiming in, giving me your thoughts. Then we're going to go to Cannon Torres, who has a really, really good beat on the program. He really has a close eye on things, talks to players. You know, he's kind of an insider now. He's a growing source in the Aggie universe, so we'll be happy to get him on in just a minute. But let's see what you guys are saying now. Jeb says, I think I wanted him for one more season, but I'm honestly fine with it. He's a good coach, but shooting struggles have been a problem under him. We won't make it to the Sweet 16 with him. Well, we were really close versus U of H last year. Just a couple of bounces of the ball away, or maybe a referee call away from making it last year. And you had a 10-point lead late in the game this year versus Michigan that would have gotten you the Sweet 16. I don't know, man. It's really tough because he had a full reset ahead of him. He would have had to build a roster from essentially scratch, and he's been to the Elite Eight. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's a surefire thing, but I do think Buzz had Sweet 16 upside. I don't want to say that about him, but I totally respect you saying that because there is a chance that is the case that he was capped here. BTTS says, my final thought won't be finalized till I see who is hired. But again, I would urge you to wait and see how this roster gets constructed, to see the personality of the team. I am going to miss Buzz Williams' coach teams, though. Some things about them. You know, I love that grittiness. I love that hustle. I loved how they put their lives on the line for each game. They overcame their shortcomings by way of playing really hard, offensive rebounds, defense, physical play. And that was really cool to see. But now we get kind of this breath of fresh air in terms of style. Maybe you get a more offensive-oriented team now. Maybe things change. They should, because Buzz Williams had a very distinct style. I really like the idea of paying Solo, those 4 badass freshmen, and some transfers to fill out the rest. Yeah. We'll see what happens with that group, man. We'll see. Good to see you, Noah. He says, I saw it coming, to be honest. I don't know who we can get to replace him. Yeah, we'll see, man. It's hard to determine where this coaching search can even go. I don't know what kind of money this team will be putting forward. I don't even know what's available. I don't know what coaches are open to leaving for a place like A&M. And that begs the question, what kind of destination is A&M? Is A&M the kind of place that an SEC coach would move to another SEC school in A&M for? Is that even something that coaches would consider? Is that the destination that A&M is? I question A&M's destination as a basketball school because it doesn't seem like it's been the most prioritized in terms of NIL funding and upgrades and facilities upgrades. Even though the facilities aren't bad, I think there are schools in the SEC that are ahead of A&M. I question that, and whether you can even attract a guy that's already at a decent to good destination, where I think you would probably have more success attracting those up-and-comers that we were talking about. Aaron says, I'm twisted. On one hand, I think Buzz is a good coach. On the other, it felt like we had the same lack of offensive issues. I get there were other factors there. Best of luck to him. That's a really good way to put it. I mean, offensive firepower and flow and consistency was never there under Buzz. Your offense was, getting in transition on defense or getting offensive rebounds, taking good, what he would call predictable shots, where they had their game plan in action for offensive boards to get more possessions. That was the offense. And, we saw that could only take you so far, right? We thought that against the upper echelon teams that might get you to the finish line in a close game, but it could also be a detriment. And we saw the offense and defense really versus Michigan all kind of shut down the stretch, unfortunately. KC is sick. I hope you're okay, man. I hope you get better. Callum England, good to see you, sir. Man, I really hope we get a good hire with this. I know, man, it's a big one, at least for the perception of Trev Alberts from a fan base. It's a big-time one. It's a big-time one. What a roller coaster of a 12-month stretch coaching-wise, and I like Elko and Early just talking turnover in general. Yeah, man, you have the big three all in turnover within the same 12 to 13-month span. It's crazy, man. And just a few years ago, we were sitting pretty, 2020, you had Jimbo. I don't remember when exactly you hired Schloss, but it was around that time frame. You had Buzz, and you felt like potential of the program was sky high, especially with football in that 2020 run kind of stabilizing the big three. You felt really good, and here we are a few years later in a full reset. Football a year into the thing, baseball, stumbling out the gates of their reset, and basketball, it's just starting now. It's been insane. What's Coach K doing? Coach K is, I don't know what Coach K does, but I would assume he's sipping wine and riding yachts and having a good time. I'm not even calling the man. I'm not going to disrespect him by calling the man. But you're dreaming there, and I appreciate it, James. I appreciate it. Let's see what else you guys are saying. How about the Iowa State coach? That's a good one. That's a good idea. I blink on the name, but Iowa State has been performing and getting to the tournament consistently. That's a really good one. But again, what's the draw going from Iowa State to A&M? Does A&M offer enough as a program or financially to a coach to attract a guy like that? That's my question. If someone's having success somewhere else, why go to A&M where it's a full reset unless the money is just really, really good? And I would be curious to maybe get Cannon's thoughts on that in a second. I'm scared the whole team is going to. 4 days from the carousel turns big time. I don't know, man. Good to see you, Barnes. How much to buy out early? I don't even know what the buyout is. I'm not thinking about that right now, but we'll get into that when the time comes. Hey, Drew, Maryland's a better basketball job. You and I would do the same thing. I've been saying for a few months now that I would not be surprised if Buzz moves on. And Maryland debatably is a better basketball job. It is, just because we don't really, like I said, prioritize basketball as much as we do football and now baseball with the renovations and its recent successes. So yeah, it makes sense for, at this time, a guy like Buzz Williams, who has kind of maybe plateaued at A&M and had his best run with his seniors, to move on at a time like this. The timing just makes perfect sense, Steve. Callum says, I'm fine with the gamble that we took on early. Hindsight's always 2020, but it was a gamble to keep the core together, for sure. For sure. TJ Olselberger, yes, sir, yes, sir. And speaking of Cannon, who just chimed in there, let's take things to the phone calls and see what Cannon is saying about the coaching move. What's going on, Cannon? How you feeling today? What are your initial thoughts coming off of this thing? And just kind of give us your overall thoughts on what's been a, I don't want to say surprising, but still nonetheless crazy day.
Yeah, it's been a very, very crazy day to say the least. But you could definitely say the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a surprise, but still something that we're going to deal with in real time. It comes at a time, at least in my perspective, that there's not a clear candidate, a clear pool of candidates even. I think we have a wish list. I think we have, names that draw our gaze. But before we get into that, just I want to hear your thoughts on Buzz Williams and what he meant to the program, and kind of your feelings of moving off of a guy with his style, the way he went about things, and just kind of give your goodbyes, I guess, to Buzz.
Yeah. So first of all, I have always been a person who I have loved Buzz Williams as the person, as a leader. So I do want to give him his flowers there. That is something where if you can get an entire team to buy in on one thing, it's kind of rare to see in this new NIL day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how often do you get 8 seniors on a team in this day and age? That's
Kind of
not
crazy.
that's not a common thing to happen. And I think we've talked about how Buzz is pretty selective with his players. He wants players who will buy in to what he's teaching, who will kind of feed off of the way he speaks to players and the way he kind of unifies a group, guys that are willing to be selfless for the program. And that was great. Do you feel like Buzz in his time here, you think we maximized kind of that potential while he was here? I feel like we did. I think, we feel not great about coming up short in a couple of round of 32 games, but I think this last run with these seniors, I would consider it somewhat successful given what these guys mean to the university.
Well, you can look at it from 2 points of view. Where are the fans in terms of how they view success at Texas A&M basketball? Do they consider being or wanting to be relevant, or do they consider wanting to be a championship contender as a success? And I think that you have all of those fans trying to listen and think for themselves and form their own opinions. But what Buzz Williams really did in 6 years is brought from that Gillespie time, brought A&M back to its relevance with all these 8 seniors, all these guys buying in, even if it was, quote unquote, an ugly style of basketball. It still performed very well in win-loss columns.
Yeah, a relatively, I would call high floor tenure under Buzz Williams, and I'm so with you. I love the leadership aspect. I would confidently say that that entire team is better for being together and under Buzz in their time at A&M. And we absolutely thank them for that. And I think Maryland finds themselves. I don't know if their coach, if all their fan base is totally thrilled about Buzz, given that it's been kind of that high floor style rather than achieving at the top. I don't know how they would all feel about it if it's consensus. Satisfied with the move, but I think they have a good man to at least see some good basketball with over the next few years. But transitioning into A&M, I want before we get into names and whatever, all that stuff. I kind of want to get your thoughts on A&M as a basketball destination. How do you view A&M as a basketball destination? How do you view A&M as a program with the potential to, as you put, get above just being relevant, but achieving at the highest level, making Sweet 16s, maybe getting even higher than that at some point? Where do you view A&M in the arc of getting there?
Well, right now, you have college athletics at its tipping point, right? You have revenue sharing coming. You have the SEC and Big Ten already willing to spend high amounts of dollars for players, coaching staffs, athletic departments, everything along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So, right now, do we consider or do we think coaches who are going to be eyeing the job, whether they think they're eyeing the job or not, do they believe that they can come here and look at it as untapped potential for what Buzz Williams could not do and take us to that next level? Everybody at A&M, their expectations were raised because of how successful Buzz was this season during the regular season with beating these teams through tough grit and grind, like hard fought wins. So their expectations are high right now. So how does another coach look at this situation and say, I know how to take this team to the next level?
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, to your previous point, A&M has been relevant on the basketball scene for a few years now. Buzz Williams absolutely accomplished that. Not really a cellar dweller for most of his time here, and that's good. That's good. We've reached that kind of national relevancy stage for some consistent time now. But you know, given that he never achieved, and given that at the highest level, and given that there is a major rebuild to be done here, how do you think coaches will view that when eyeing A&M? And then I want to get into the money stuff if you have any insight there. I mean, can money play a factor in attracting guys, maybe guys who are already at somewhat comfortable situations? What is the kind of now and what we can offer? How would you think coaches would view that aspect?
Well, at this point, the job is open,
Yeah,
right? So you have all of these teams trying to throw in names here, and there who they think would be the best fit for this. And really, we don't know until that is made. Really, the only thing we know is that it is going to be down to Trev Alberts
yeah,
and the athletic department to say, what are we willing to do to take this program to the next level?
yeah,
And um, how do they define success at Texas A&M? Because you get a lot of people that are going to say, well, Buzz has success this past year. Why couldn't money not be an issue to find another coach to
right.
take over and continue that relevancy? But I've always said that with A&M, money will not usually be a factor because you can always throw that money out at someone. A lot of these athletic departments are going to be able to throw money out at people
Yeah,
to a point, obviously. But what are these coaches looking for in terms of how does this help me and how am I able to help this program achieve success?
yep, yep. And that's what kind of makes this coaching search very fascinating because there's a lot of unknown going into it. I think everything you're saying is something we'll kind of discover based on how this coaching search goes. I don't know if they're going to look for, an up and coming young coach that maybe not everybody has their eye on. Maybe they're going to try to reach for the stars and go for somebody established if there's any kind of interest there. I guess we'll step into given a couple of names if you can provide any. I'm not sure if you have any insight. You probably don't because this thing just happened, but where would your instincts kind of take you in regards to this search? By the way, we have Cannon Torres. He is becoming an insider for A&M athletics. He's very good pulse on the basketball program specifically, and I think he's providing us some great insight here. So really appreciate your time. But going into this coaching search, do you have any names, any ideas on where this thing could potentially go?
Well, I'm going to go back to my earlier point. You do have people throwing out names here and there, like anybody would.
Yeah.
And some of them do have traction as potentially realistic candidates. I mean, everybody's going to say Chris Beard.
Hmm.
Everybody's going to say Grant McCaslin from Texas Tech. Those are guys who have had excellent success at the D1 level at Power 4 schools that have taken their teams to tournaments, especially with Chris Beard going to the championship game back in 2019 with Texas Tech, that you are going to want that level of success here in College Station. I know I'm not saying here in College Station as I'm in a different state right now,
Right.
but you have guys that people are throwing out there that are, that Todd Golden type where you find them at a mid-major level after recent success, where you have their stock rising to an all-time high. Maybe if you brought them to that Power 4 level, that they can take that next step. And people like Alan Huss over at High Point, you saw what they did in the tournament. Everybody was trying to pick them to beat Purdue in that first round game. It was very, very popular. And even in that first half, it was very scary for a little bit. But I think when you have the relevancy that A&M has had in this past, my personal views on it is that you go to another Power 4 school and either take a coach or an assistant or try and offer them. There might be some interest from the Alan Huss side at High Point, but is that interest going to be on our side is the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just a fascinating search. Really, like I was kind of getting into, I think the first true, see the field, see what you're working with coaching search from Trev Alberts since he's been here at A&M for about a year now. Again, with the early one being very much, I think, obvious at the time to make. This is one that's going to really tell us where we're at and how we're viewed as a at least basketball program. But I want to back up real quick because I know you and I have talked a little bit about kind of the portal goings-ons, and I know you're kind of plugged into that stuff. And something that we talked about, and I wanted you to bring up because I was very curious about this, was over this last week or so, since there were heavy rumors about Buzz eyeing this Maryland position and possibly leaving the program, we've heard of several visits, several portal guys visiting A&M, some pretty exciting guys, and I don't want to get into those individually, but how is this kind of thing navigated and handled while your coach is very kind of publicly talking to other schools? That's something I'm very curious about. And look, coaching changes happen. You're not going to blame Buzz for something like that because it was his time to move on, and this is how the business works. But how is that navigated by A&M when you have a coach that is, quite literally a foot out the door because he was leaving? How does A&M handle that? Is Buzz in on those visits? I'm just very curious about how that works.
So it's a very awkward situation overall from the eyes of a fan, right?
Yeah, and that's the word that was used in all the reports. Awkward. An awkward week in Aggie basketball.
Yeah, an awkward week to say the least. But from Buzz's perspective and A&M's perspective, they have attacked this portal as they always have. Buzz has let his assistants do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to it and sell the school. So that's really what I've heard, at least from people all around, is that these assistant coaches do know Buzz's system, and they still have a job to do, even if rumors are going around, or if even they believe someone's foot is out the door. They have a job to do.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes total sense to kind of shift maybe before maybe selling Buzz and selling those ideologies, but now just selling A&M, which itself has a lot to offer. So it makes a lot of sense. And hearing that from you puts me at ease because I was, fearful for the school, fearful for the players and their experience on the visits. But it makes a lot of sense to get the assistants involved and really kind of push A&M. Well, all right, Cannon. I really appreciate your time. You want to tell people where they can find you and maybe any closing thoughts as we get into the true grind of this coaching search?
Yeah, they can find me over on X at @TorresCannon. If they want to follow any updates on a lot of the college basketball aspects as we go throughout this transfer portal and this new coaching hire, more than welcome to go over. And then as we come up more towards the recruiting scene on football, I'm also over on there trying to get a little bit of a scoop on a lot of our recruiting targets as we head towards more of the spring practice for Texas A&M. Just a final thought. Sometimes it is a little beneficial for people to get off of social media. We do have a dead period coming up on Thursday. That starts at noon and lasts for a week. So you could see this coaching search go 1 to 2 days, or you could see it go for a week. Now, um, I know that's maybe not what a lot of people want to hear, but if A&M is able to take their time, maybe get these people in for actual interviews in person and evaluate then, that's where I think that Texas A&M can actually find who they are looking for, regardless of how much money.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So you're saying this basketball recruiting dead period is coming up. That includes portal and everything. Is that right?
I do believe it does include that. Now, a common misconception about the dead period, it just means that you're really not able to have people on campuses. Obviously, coaching staffs can still reach out via digital communication. You can always text, you can always call, but stuff like setting up visits and anything like that, um, that's kind of out the door.
Okay, so maybe buys A&M a little time, buys them some time to get those interviews like you were saying. Okay, well, all right, Cannon, I appreciate your time today. You offered us a bunch of great insight. Make sure you guys get out there and follow him. I mean, I'm getting a lot of good stuff from him, and I do believe he put out a little teaser today about A&M football recruiting maybe heating up a little bit, and that was really cool to see. So, all right, Cannon, appreciate you again. You have a good one. We'll talk to you next time.
Have a good one, y'all.
Later. All right. Much appreciated to Cannon Torres. And that's going to about conclude our discussion on Buzz Williams. Oh, and by the way, as we speak, Grand Slam Jaslav Yellett. And that's coming off of a 3-run homer by Binderup, who started at first base today with Gavin Cash down with an injury. This baseball game's coming up all Aggies so far versus Incarnate Word. And with that, we're going to transition into some baseball watch party coverage. Stick around. We're going to just watch the baseball game together. So, guys, give me just a minute. I'm going to transition your screen and everything over to the baseball side. I'm going to try to get the scoreboard and audio on so we can all follow along. And if you guys want to keep giving me your comments on the A&M coaching situation in the basketball world, y'all keep doing that. We'll be reading off comments the whole time. But that will conclude our direct Buzz Williams leaving A&M coverage. Thank you guys for being here. Give me just about 2 minutes while I set up the baseball stream. Well, for a game that started with an A&M hit by pitch, I'd say we're doing all right now. Thank you guys for sticking around. We're just going to have ourselves a nice, laid-back Aggie baseball watch party. Look, things aren't going well. It's been pretty rough. You know, we had the exciting return of Caden Sorrell, But then obviously Kentucky ended up kind of dominating the second 2 games of that series. You got your first SEC win. We hoped we could build on that. But, pitching very much came up short this weekend. And, A&M has no chance to breathe, no chance to catch their breath at all, because you got freaking Tennessee this weekend. Top team in the nation. That's going to be interesting. And now it looks like you're down Gavin Cash. However, Binderup just had himself a 3-run homer. So let's see if there's anything this team can build on and maybe find and maybe pick up some heat and momentum, at least batting this game, midweek versus Incarnate Word. I mean, we've seen some early fireworks today. It feels pretty good so far. I have the game on. Let me get the scoreboard up. It's not on yet because we're at commercial. Thank you guys for sticking around. I'm going to go through chat, and if you guys want to ask any questions or take this thing anywhere, y'all drop it in chat right now. All right, there we go. There's the scoreboard.
Didn't get too animated,
See if
but
this will do it.
I mean, they talked for that entire break.
He came out right after that ground out by Sorrell. Lissy right back up the middle. That's where Caden Kent is.
There we go.
Second base.
Ball right to Caden Kent. That's one down in the top of the third. Again, Binderup playing first base. And there were a lot of complaints, myself included, about Binderup pinch hitting for Gavin Cash late in the, I believe it was the Kentucky game, when you were trying to have a last-ditch comeback and you pinch in Binderup, who has just mightily struggled this year. Come to find out, Gavin Cash injured, so he's not playing today. I haven't seen how long he's going to be out, but it's really good to see Binderup get some stuff going today. It's going to be needed, especially if he's going to be playing for some extended time. It's 7-0. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, James. Went to the Kentucky game we won. They were like 10 feet away from tying it up late. I know, man. I know. But hey, maybe you're the good luck charm, Jonathan. All right, there's a foul ball from Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word, one of my local teams here in San Antonio. I'll catch up in the chat now. Love the show. Drew, what's up with the baseball team? So many things are up, or should I say down. I feel like bats have gotten better. Good to get Caden Sorrell back. But the pitching failed you this weekend, so if it's not one thing, it's another. It's just an inconsistent baseball team right now. It's a 500 baseball team. But, I mean, team last year. Had they found a way to hold on to that lead versus Michigan this year, we might be having a fully different discussion. That's just how big wins and losses in March are. Sorrell almost went yard. I saw that. If Buzz had a successful career at A&M, why would it be hard to get a big-name coach? Relative success is different from absolute success. There are coaches that we would wish for that are having real, lasting success at other programs, like the Iowa State coach, like the Texas Tech coach. That's hard to do because we're not there yet. It's going to be a matter of finding a coach that feels like A&M can elevate his career, as Cannon and I were just talking about. A&M's money will always be a factor, says Jonathan, but the best coaches typically aren't chasing money as a priority. Money's there. Money has to be there. Money will be there, but you're right. There are other things. Coaches want to elevate their career, and they have to look at A&M as a position to do that. Do we look at a younger coach like UConn assistant Luke Murray, or do we throw a name at someone like McCaslin? My preference is to get that name, but that's kind of short-sighted and greedy because I want someone that can help us find success next season. Because there's a world where next season is terrible, y'all. You know, you get the wrong side of Farrell Payne and Solo Washington. You lose your leadership, your continuity, the little you did have, and you go full reset mode. You get an up-and-coming coach. Things are slow in the portal. Maybe you get some younger guys who are looking to move up or looking to find some opportunity. And you don't have the season you feel like you could have if you get a guy like McCaslin who might draw some more portal interest. So to me, I go to someone in the Power Four. But again, like we were pointing out, there has been a lot of success getting up-and-comers who you might not know right now, which is why I urge to, let this thing play out. Even if it's a name you're not so totally happy with, it could work out. Like a guy like Nate Oates. I mean, that was an up-and-comer. That was a guy that wasn't on a lot of people's radar. It has worked out fantastically at Bama. Tech can match that band. That NIL is insane thanks to Cody Campbell. Yeah, Tech's NIL is going crazy right now. By the way, we had a lineup shift in baseball over the weekend. As many of you have and I have requested, Terrence Keel now the leadoff man. Caden Kent on a very much cold stretch right now. Got on base last inning, but cold right now. Moved back later in the lineup. Laviolette back in his 2-hole. Hensler at 3. Kelly, good to see you. Bindrup just blasted a ball. Yeah, he had that 3-run homer earlier. Oh, who else saying things? Did the football spring portal open already? Not to my knowledge. Maybe? Maybe? A&M's not super active in it just yet, but I'll check on that for you guys. Yep, Jace had the grand slam, Trooper Drew. Kent dodges a pitch. Kentucky guys would have taken that. Kentucky guys are good at just scamming their way to a win, right? Taking every hit by pitch, embracing that contact, running out the pitch clock. They're just scheming and scamming. But it worked, and we lost. Caden Kent 2-1. Takes another ball, 3-1 for Caden Kent. What's the deal with Trey Young becoming the assistant GM of OU? Can we get AC? That's the assistant GM of the Thunder. I don't know much about that. That was crazy to see. An active NBA player becoming an assistant GM. But he's also donating a lot of money, so maybe it's kind of like an honorary title. Maybe they'll just get, little bits of knowledge and feedback from an elite NBA player. It's interesting. It's interesting. It'd be nice to get a legacy guy, but Trey Young also came with $1 million donation to A&M, so that was a factor there. Bindrup hit a 3-run homer over the SEC rec center, over the rec center. Yeah, dude, that thing was hammered. Outfielder not even looking at that ball. It was just like, yeah, that's gone. But he's back up now. Here's Binderup again with runners on first and second in a similar position when he hit his last homer. Let's see what Bindy does here.
First and second, nobody out.
Yeah, a really good start to this game and a really good start to the bottom of this third. 0 outs, runners on first and second. Binderup, who has the hot hand right now, takes the ball. Gonna grab tickets for Tennessee. You got to go to every game, Jonathan. If you're the good luck charm, you got to be at these games, man. Jonathan was at the Kentucky win. Binderup watches an inside pitch. That's 2 balls. Good stuff from Binderup, seeing it. And we've seen this team keep going to Binderup. And we heard from insiders, we heard from Brawny, Binderup was the hottest batter in spring camp going into the season. And this team feels like they have something with him, and they're not giving up on his talent. And he makes contact with the ball, but this one will be short to the left fielder. Right at that same angle, right in the same direction, but not as much power on this one. That'll be the first out of the inning. But he's seeing pitches. He's making contact. This is better than what we've seen before. Maybe this is something. Maybe this is something to build on. That was Bush League. Conroe will find them. Talking about that Kentucky milking the clock thing, I know. JD says, hey, Drew, appreciate the live streams, Gig'em. Yeah, happy to be here, JD. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate you, man.
Here's Ben Royal. Single. He was aboard on the Jace Laviolette grand slam. First and second, one away for Royal.
All right, Ben Royo up.
Righty matchup.
Still a good position right now on the bottom of the third. Runners on first and second. One out after the Binder up pop fly to left field.
Royal with a couple home runs this year.
Aggies need some metal Yankee bats. Them torpedo bats that are sweeping the nation right now. That'd be nice.
Harrison, the leadoff single. Kent drew a walk.
I looked into those torpedo bats, and I thought they were just thicker bats. Good contact by Ben Royo. Another three-run homer. There we go. Ben Royo.
Royal runs one out.
There we go, Ben Royo. I mean, this kid has really kind of elevated the team, man. I believe he's the junior transfer out of Rice.
Texas A&M here
Improved fielding, improved batting. We'll definitely take it. And, you know, you're still playing Sawyer Farr in left field now. So you're running some young guys. You have Terrence Keel out there. You're running Bear Harrison now. Some really positive adjustments coming. And it felt like maybe when we first started seeing these early adjustments after Gavin went down, it felt like they were chasing, kind of finding the lineup that worked. And I think in terms of hitting, this lineup is really it. We just need hitting and pitching to meet in the middle. That's what we need right now. That's what we need right now. But, I mean, shoot, you're getting it from Royal. You got it from Binderup. Jace just had himself a grand slam. Bear's been probably the hottest batter on the team. Terrence Keel's at leadoff. We're not giving up. We're going to keep watching, and maybe they'll give us something to cheer for. Come on. Can we steal a win this weekend? Feels like a really good game to take into this weekend right now. We tried continuity in baseball, not good. I hope we go for an experienced coach like TU stole. Yeah, and I don't think there's a continuity option out there right now. I don't think there's an early like hire. And, you know, you're not going to want to do that just to retain two players anyways. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. And the comparison I made was when we were doing the football coaching search, and a lot of people wanted Elijah Robinson to take over maybe as coach or at least DC, and they went elsewhere. And maybe now that we're seeing more evidence of how those things play out, maybe that's a good thing.
10 hits, 18 walks.
Very happy with Elko, by the way. Love the 3-0 green light for Jace. Yeah, I love that too, man. I love that too. Be nice to get 2 3-run homers. Well, you've gotten 2 3-run homers and a grand slam today, James Ellis. So you have gotten what you wanted and then some, sir. I can get 3 free tickets every game. Let me know if you want to go. Really? I'll let you know. I'll let you know. Uh-oh. Boom. Royo was hot. Whoop. Rattlenbog. Let's go, man. Ben Royo. Ben Royo. What's up, Drew? Says T-Dub87. Disappointed in Buzz leaving. I can understand it, though, with all those seniors leaving and him wanting to get out before the program takes a step back. Yeah, and if you look at his previous stops at Marquette and Virginia Tech, I think they were both around 5 years each. It seems like a guy that would move on after that kind of time. But again, maybe maximized his potential here at A&M. Maybe feel like it's time to move on. Natural reset with the players leaving. I think he'll do fine at Maryland. I think they have, you know, adequate resources there. Good conference. He's going to have a good time there, I think. Gary says, love the bubbles on a live stream. Yeah, my monitor, or I'm sorry, my keyboard doesn't love it. My keyboard is totally saturated with bubble juice thanks to all of our baseball streams here, but I think it's worth it. I need a new keyboard anyway. 10-run rule in 6. It's very, very, very much on the table right now. Cody Kent. Ags take the series this weekend. Oh, my goodness. Jonathan's calling his shot. Ags going to take the series versus Tennessee. Y'all got to tell me, is this game in Tennessee or College Station? Y'all got to let me know. It's in College Station, right? I know most of our difficult series are on the road this year, but I think this is the one that's in College Station. Is that right? Oh, Sawyer Farr almost hit by 3 pitches in a row. And he is hit by this one. Every one of those pitches almost hit him.
Just did catch him.
And the last one did. Just nicked his shoulder. All right, Sawyer Farr getting on base. Still 1 out. The game's in Tennessee? Okay. Okay.
Infield single his last time up.
All right.
Reach back to check on him, let him know it was incidental.
Far hit by the pitch. He's at first, 1 away. 1-1 to Keel.
I'll check the schedule in the commercial break, BTTS. I'm curious now too. Pitch over Terrence Keel's head. 3-1. I'm sorry, 2-1.
Braylon Pillett is growing in the UIW bullpen.
Jonathan, you're getting bold with me, man. You got us taking the series versus Tennessee.
Right fielder Ryan Scott is a step in.
All right, if A&M, should we do a salsa challenge? A salsa scenario today? It's been a while.
Check swing inside.
Y'all let me know if you want a salsa scenario today. I'm thinking about one.
Bird's throwing has been to that side of the plate.
Y'all let me know.
Up and down.
All right, 3-1 to TK.
It's now a 3-1 pitch.
Runner on first. It's Sawyer Farr who got hit by pitch.
High.
It'll be high. We'll walk him. We'll get runners on first and second.
Walk for Bird since his
All right, man.
for EJ Garcia.
You want a salsa stream, Jonathan? You think we do a salsa scenario?
Both know, love, JB Moss.
Got it right here.
Single digits on pitchers, yes or no?
At Tennessee, Friday game on ESPNU, ESPN2 for Sunday. Ooh, little national TV action.
He also has a because every time we work together,
Let's change the narrative.
he says absolutely not.
All right, Jace up with runners on first and second.
It's on the pitcher's mound.
Yes, he did. 1-2 to Jace, who hit a grand slam his last time up. Curve is
All
a
right.
strike, 0-1.
Sawyer Farr
He'll
trying
take a
to
strike there.
He's
A lot of
on
movement on that
second.
curveball.
Terrence Gill to second, drew a walk. He leads from first.
I don't care what number pitchers wear.
I'm a salsa man, so yes, says Jonathan. All right. If A&M gets another 2+ run homer, I'll take the salsa. Ooh,
Inside.
Jace almost got hit there.
Up is
So A&M already has a 3-run homer,
right. You could do
a
that.
3-run homer, and a grand slam. If A&M gets another 2+ homer this game, I'll take the salsa on that hit.
Something you would expect from Kings and Kings.
I'll take the salsa on that hit. But A&M has to have another 2+ run. No solo shots. Although I welcome them. Another high pitch to Jace. Is it 3 3-run homers? I thought the Jace was a grand slam.
Chance in the strike zone. I know it's the middle of
I thought the Jace was a 4-run homer.
put 2 guys on already and falling behind level.
Rodney Terry available? I'll get back to you on that one. Let me think about that and chew on it, Bevo.
First,
No.
Hernandez is behind Farr, the shortstop. Now he heads back 2-1.
Jace makes contact. Oh,
Right field, that's
okay.
another home run
Well,
for
that
Jace.
didn't take long. Jace Laviolette, come on, baby! record now. Playing with no pressure, and it's showing. Oh, God.
Maybe he'll take a run at Dalen's single season.
I'll do it again if it happens again. I got one more in me.
He does.
My favorite thing about
I got one more in me.
person, you're like, hey, you could probably go hit another 10 homers in a season right now.
That was immediate. That was immediate. Jace back up. Jace gets the 3-run homer.
Swing and a miss.
Swing and a miss at a low pitch for Hensler.
I'm telling you, I went and saw A&M play at Vincent Beck
Oh, my
Stadium
goodness.
when I was in grade school, and Dalen was playing at Texas A&M.
That thing was a little bit clogged, so I had to like shake it out. But I didn't get enough on the first one.
And he hit a ball in ball
Yeah, Bevo, we've looked bad against bad teams.
gonna land amongst the refineries.
I'll take looking really good against a bad team, Bevo. Come on. Good contact for Hensler.
Field
And it'll land in left field.
He's 1 for 3.
Hensler with the base hit. Yeah, we will certainly take a good performance versus a team of this level, man. We've looked worse against teams like this.
And I think obviously Dalen
We've
has
lost
had
many
the credit
non-con
for
games.
so long. He and Scott Livingstone were incredibly gracious with Jace once he passed.
Oh, that's a lot of salsa.
They're both legends in Aggie baseball, and I think the coolest part about Jace's moment over the weekend to break Dalen's
But the way batting works in baseball, man, you want games like this. You need games like this if you're super cold. All right, Caden Sorrell up. First time watching Caden Sorrell on a live stream. Another slow looping curveball, 72 mile an hour.
Caden Sorrell, who is 0 for 2. Fly to center, grounds
You're looking at it, Bevo.
second base.
You're looking at it.
Third first, the
We're
single
better than
extends
Incarnate
his
Word.
streak to 11 games.
You like it?
0-1
I bet you do.
Sorrell in a lefty-lefty matchup with Bird.
Sorrell, pitch in the dirt,
That
0-2.
is blocked by Gray Bain behind the plate. Keeps it there at the plate. No advance for Hensler.
Incarnate Word's in Texas. Let's be real.
Courtesy of 4 home runs.
We beat Rice.
2 by Jace Laviolette, a grand slam and a 3-run home.
We beat Rice.
3-run homers for Bender up in Royo. Swing and a miss by Caden.
You're a beast for taking that shot.
outside of a homer.
I'm pretty tolerant, but this is not even salsa. This is
Fun way to play baseball,
the devil's sweat.
unless you're only going to hit one homer.
It's not natural. It tastes like battery mixed with burnt beef jerky.
In the dirt.
Dirt pitch, 2-2.
Gavin.
I
Gavin.
know Dan Strahovic will be a
I know, I'm low on drink. I'm going to have to switch to bubbles. I'll just shoot the bubble gun right into my mouth.
This is stuff getting hotter around here. Yeah.
All right, 2-2 for Caden Sorrell.
Caden Sorrell.
Good to see him out there, man.
Hensler's at first, 1 away. Pitch. Bounced foul.
Foul ball,
IW
keeping it
again.
going.
First base.
Stay 2-2.
Gavin a little bit and his dad over the weekend, and just kind of talking about life after baseball.
I'm adapting to the salsa. I'm getting more accustomed to it. I'm going to have to get really used to it because the NCAA football streams are coming back after spring football. The week after spring football's done, I'm playing the CFB 25 games online as A&M. And if I lose, I have to take the salsa.
First.
So I have to get very used to it.
Here in the third.
And there's no way out of it.
7-run second. 2-2 from Bird.
Another pitch in the dirt. We'll go a full count here.
2.
Sorrell coming back from, what was it, 1-2? And of course, we've seen Sorrell not running 100% DH right now. He's not himself yet. But the bat's there, as we saw on his first at-bat that was a homer versus Kentucky in the win. Oh, he'll swing at a pitch in the dirt. Oh, wincing in pain after that, it looked like. Not good.
Not like that after that swing and miss.
The way he jumped.
No. Not a good reaction to that at all. Stiff-legging it out of there.
First strikeout for UIW.
Yeah, guys.
Here's Bear Harrison.
We just saw that from Sorrell.
Number
Back in the preseason, he's breaking ball down. He puts a lot of torque into his legs on.
Ooh.
2-1.
swing through it, you kind of pull yourself away.
That slow looping curve, I think it is, that's going 72 mile an hour. It's either in the dirt or it's just hitting the bottom of the box.
It looked awfully similar to what aggravated it and caused that setback.
2-1.
I'm out of drink, by the way. So I'm just telling myself the heat's gone, even though it's not. Might as well sit him for the season. Yeah.
After he played on Saturday,
I don't want to see further damage here, man.
was he going to react to
He's already, according to Brawny, I think said it.
not just that hamstring?
He had a setback late in the preseason. I think the injury happened
He would do the same thing.
well before the start of the season. And the setback happened, I think, in the week leading into the season. But there's a walk.
Harrison goes to first.
We'll have runners on first and second here.
Gives us an opportunity to pause 10 seconds.
We got 2 outs. So he gets to get some 2-out hitting going. Caden Kent up. We know what Caden Kent's capable of. He has been cold, though. Dang it. All right, we're out of drink. We're out of drink.
For UIW. Faces Caden Kent, who is 1 for 1 with a
All right,
single.
Caden Kent. Runners first and second. 2 outs.
Caden bats with runners at first and second.
Shaky pitching right now. A lot of stuff in the dirt.
Six-run third
See how he handles this.
after a 7-run second for the Aggies. 2 on, 2 out. Curve down.
It's that same looping curveball. This one was down and away.
Bit, not far. Right-handed batter's box. 1-0. Coming up on pitch number 29. Bird.
You said he threw twice at the weekend.
All right, 1-0 for Caden Kent.
It was Friday, Sunday against Lamar. 1-0.
Way in the dirt this time. That one looked like it was a fastball. Just got away from him. Hit the dirt before it got to the plate. Yeah, I'm only swinging at the absolute premium pitches right now. This guy is not accurate right now.
Left-hander Bird facing the left-handed hitting Caden Kent. With runners at
All right, here we go. 2-0 for Kent.
the 2-0.
That one's low and outside.
3-0.
Nez says, Drew, I'm a big fan of Buzz. He's a quality human being, and I guess that's why I'm supporting. He is a great human being, a great leader of men, and we appreciate him for that. We'll miss that about him. I think it's a natural stopping point for both parties. I think we can, benefit from a change right now, given that you have the huge turnover. He's been here for 5-6 years. There's a strike on the 3-0.
We need to do this.
I think it was time for both sides to move on. I think it made a lot of sense. You could have brought him back, and you could have dealt with the reset with Buzz.
Or do we just
But given that it's such a reset, I think you're in a natural reset spot. A natural overall starting point for a new coach. Caden Kent bounces the ball foul. Going to go full count now after 3-0.
3-2 to Caden Kent. Hensler goes back to second base. Bear Harrison back to first. They're the 2 on with 2 outs. And if
All right,
the ball
here we
shut
go.
down, they will be off and running.
2 down, 2 on, full count. Caden Kent.
Lefty matchup.
But yeah, guys, if you're just tuning in now and you want to hear the Buzz Williams stuff, just rewind to the beginning of the show. I think we start about 5 minutes in.
Go the runners 3-2 home. Way
Outside pitch. We'll go bases loaded. 2 outs. Caden Kent saw it there. Pitch was way outside.
Another good sign for Kent too, because that's one of the things I thought he
Kent getting on base again. He's had a couple of cold weeks. Really good stuff to see from him so far today. Can we get 4 3-run homers? All right, they'll have a mound meeting here. I don't know if that's the coach or the pitching coach coming out.
pitching change. It's a La Casa Tequila break and play. Takes some
Yep,
time to
we'll have a
adjust
pitching change here.
responsibly.
All right, get comfortable, guys. We have a new pitcher. I don't know who they're facing. Maybe is it Ben Royo coming up next?
After
Could be Binder up.
33
I'm not.
pitches,
Let me check the lineup for you guys because I don't even know because we changed it again.
A third of an inning, and right now 3 runs.
Yeah, it'll be Blake Binderup who had a 3-run shot earlier in the game to start the runs for the Ags today. Let's see if Binderup can keep it hot.
Right-hander will come on.
Had a fly out at his second at bat. Binderup starting in place of the injured Gavin Cash.
Pitching change.
Binderup running first base today where he started the season.
Inheriting the
Can we
bases
get 2
loaded.
grand slams, James? Can we do it? We're about to find out.
The batter that Pillock
Got a recently hot batter, at least within this game, and Binderup up.
7 runs, second
My
inning.
nose is burning.
Pitching
Everything
change
hurts
from
right now.
Carter. We step aside for 60
Everything hurts right now.
seconds. 13-0 Aggies.
My eyes feel pretty good watching this
Texas
A&M
baseball.
pitching show. I mean, batting show right now. And pitching. Pitching the shutout so far. Yeah, that's sauce, not salsa. Yeah, dude. It's not salsa. This is not chips and salsa, dude. This is something else. But again, we're hitting the salsa with any 2+ run homer today. We've already hit it today, and we're feeling the repercussions. I'm out of drink. This is a long half inning, and it keeps going, James. It keeps going. This is the same inning we had the Jay Slaviolette 3-run homer in. And this has been a 2-pitching change inning. We've been keeping this pitcher busy, getting on base. It's been a long half inning. I believe he saw that next season would be a challenge and decided to jump ship when the cupboard was bare. For me, he left us hanging. Yeah, but we would have been hanging even if he came back, though. I think it would have been a tough battle, and it would have been a lot of uncertainty next year either way, Nez. I don't look at it that way because I don't know if we're in a much different situation with him back. I don't know if A&M's a premium place to bring in these high-profile transfer portal guys to have like a guaranteed rebound season even with Payne and Solo back. So I don't necessarily look at it that way. I think there's a lot of work to do regardless, even if he was back. Again, you know, I don't know how a coach like Buzz would view A&M as a destination where he's been here for several years. Maybe it feels like he plateaued these last couple of years, gave it his best shot with those seniors. Natural time to move on, in my opinion. But I hear you. We need Sorrell to have a 0.1% chance of making a run. The only hope is that this bender up fire is something that we can build on, man. If this, what we're seeing today, is something, because again, Bender up was the hottest batter in preseason camp, according to insiders.
That may be the last time we see Caden Sorrell tonight. I did not like his body language.
All right. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, Caden Sorrell got injured on, or re-injured, re-aggravated on a swing and a miss at a low pitch.
Another big gut.
Stiffly walked off, looked very down on the situation, going to the dugout. But bases loaded now, 2 outs. Bender up, who has the 3-run shot earlier in the game, is at bat. First pitch is low. We'll start with a walk. We'll take a walk. We'll take a walk and a run here. You've already gotten a lot out of this inning. You had the 3-run shot from Jace this inning. You've forced 2 pitching changes. It's been a really productive inning. This is the cherry on top here. We'll take a walk. Pitch outside. All right, 2-0 for Bender up.
Pitched at UTSA. Did Braylon. Pitched against Lamar over the weekend.
It would be huge to get Bender up going, man. Especially with what we think could be an extended absence from Sorrell. Very much a high pitch. About eye level, inside. 3-0. You're a ball away from a run and a ball 5 chant. All right, Bender up. You're seeing it, man. Let's keep seeing it.
Bases loaded, 2 away. 3-0.
3-0 for Bender up. Inside pitch. We'll walk a run in. We'll get the ball 5 chant going.
It's 14-0 Texas A&M. George scores.
Yamal George touches home plate. A&M up 14-0. The run rule will come into effect, I believe, after the 6th inning. Let's see if we can beat Georgia's record today. I think Georgia won 20-1 today. Georgia, a top 3 team in the country. Ben Royo has himself a 3-run shot today. He's back at bat. Ooh, just going to catch the outside corner of the box. Going to be a strike. Tennessee doesn't have that pitcher with that stupid mustache. He was annoying. I don't know. The stupid mustache. All right, Royo's 0-1 now. Base is still loaded, 2 outs. Looping pitch is a ball, going to be 1-1.
Royo still with that low at-bat total means that he could do some pretty serious increases or see some pretty serious increases in that.
All right, here's Ben Royo again, 1-1.
Up to 355.
His 3rd home run, he's driven in 6.
Low outside pitch, 2-1.
It's 2-1.
Another walk would be delicious.
This is a kid that could come back next season, and he's painted some really
My left nostril apparently is full of salsa. It's burning more than anything.
13 home runs as a freshman at Rice. He's banged up.
If you're just tuning in, we're taking salsa on any 2-run plus homer, and we've already taken one today. Another outside pitch, 3-1.
I remember when he transferred, you made that comment. That's a valuable piece the Aggies just acquired.
He can play any infield position.
Come on, Royo.
Well, there's plenty of sock in the back. Just cleaned up the swing decisions. Not miss fastballs in the zone. And
Here's the 3-1 pitch, bases loaded.
The 3-1.
That'll be high. We'll walk another run in. Gonna get up to 15, bases stay loaded.
It's 15-0 Texas A&M. Harrison scores.
Tail end of the lineup now. Sawyer Farr up before you get back to the top. Let's see if Sawyer Farr can keep this party going. Get the
This evening.
very productive players, Terrence Keel and Jace Laviolette, back at bat.
Here's Sawyer Farr.
how's your scorecard look?
Jace Laviolette started the run party this inning. Might get back to him. But let's see if Sawyer Farr can keep it going.
Two Ben. 2 down, bases loaded. Farr.
Call it a strike there. Low inside strike.
0-1.
We might be in a situation, too, where some of the strike zones start expanding a little bit. But if you're Mike Early and the A&M staff, understanding the
Yeah, Bronny's saying the strike zone might be extending here.
hitters, and you can't let them
I think we see that happening. Oh, high pitch over the head of the catcher.
Coming to the plate is Caden
And
Kent.
that'll be another run scored. Caden Kent touches home, and we're up to 16. That was just a bad pitch, but we'll
what I'm
take it.
saying is if the strike zone gets expanded,
We'll take the good vibes whenever they can come.
watch out because of it. You're okay with that as a
That's got to
coach.
feel good for Caden Kent, who's been pretty cold, man.
You want your guys to stick with their plan. to be
Makes the
very
journey around the
consistent on
bases,
offense.
touches home.
Maybe swinging at strikes. That ball nowhere close. Kent makes the easy stroll home.
Scoring standing 16-0 in a 9-run third inning. 1-1. Nearly hit.
Another wild
To the
pitch.
plate and
Gonna bring another runner home.
is Blake Bender up.
We're not going to have to knock him home. They're just going to let him come home. My goodness. Musselman out of Southern Cal.
It's nowhere close. Balls are
I don't know much about him.
four is over.
You're the Arkansas fan, right, Kevin? What are your thoughts on the guy?
Sawyer Farr and down around his ankles.
How'd he do with y'all?
Might have even gone behind him.
Sawyer Farr still at bat. Just watch 2 pitches go over the catcher's head. Watch 2 of his teammates touch home plate.
2 down, runner at third.
That's an outside pitch. Going to be 3-1.
Royo, who drew the
Another pitcher warming up for UIW.
ends up at third.
Rough pitching outing for them today.
One throwing in the UIW
But
bullpen.
credit to some of the A&M bats, too. It's been a little bit of both. Wish he could have never left.
Duda is
Even over Calipari, though?
another 5-pitch walk to
But
Sawyer
that's a
Farr.
good sign, given that you have him now.
As Pillett has walked all 3 he has faced.
It's a good sign, Kevin. Look, we don't really know where this thing's going. We don't know the interest level, both from A&M looking outward and coaches looking in. I would take a guy with that resume, although I don't know much about him specifically. But I like the experience. Got us to 2 Sweet 16s and 2 Elite 8s in 5 years.
In the third,
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
When we come back,
Another pitching
your favorite
change.
restaurant
we're gonna do it.
in San Antonio.
Top of the lineup once again.
Pitching
They're doing favorite restaurant in San Antonio?
teaser.
I got to chime in on this.
Pitcher. Give you some restaurant recommendations.
Best restaurant in San Antonio.
Pitching change
I don't know if I want
for
to tell you
UIW,
guys.
inside 60 seconds.
That's what Bronny and Monaco are about to talk about. Monaco used to live in San Antonio. He was a San Antonio Spurs commentator for a while when I was growing up. All right. If you want, my favorite food's fajitas. I love myself some carne asada. I love myself some chile con queso. I love myself a nice flour tortilla. If I want that, God, this is such an under-the-radar place. Tu Asador. They cook over an open flame. It's authentic, like backyard Mexican-style barbecue, but it's like steaks and meats. It is freaking delicious, man. They serve you your steak on a big wooden platter. They give you like some garlic cloves on the side, some cooked garlic cloves, a pile of like kosher salt on the other side. You order some chiles toreados, you get some jalapenos going. My mouth's watering. Now I want to taste the spicy stuff. I'm kind of craving this right now. Man, they have these jalapeno poppers, man. It's like a big, fat jalapeno filled with cream cheese, wrapped in thick bacon slices. You dip that sucker in what's like the equivalent of like a Mexican, like, spicy mustard kind of thing. I've never had anything like it. It's surreal. Tu asador. Y'all got to try it if you come to San Antonio. It's a little expensive. It's a treat, but it's damn good. If I want some quicker Mexican, I want an atmosphere, I want some margaritas, I want some good service, I want some good chips and salsa, I'm going to Maria Bonita. I'm giving you guys all the secrets, man. I'm giving you guys all the San Antonio secrets. Maria Bonita Tu Asador. If you come to San Antonio, you live in San Antonio, you got to try them, man. And I had not heard about them both until like the last couple of years. They are under the radar. Some more on the radar stuff. Papacitos, Los Barrios. Those are good. They're classic. Papacitos a little bit more upscale. Los Barrios a little bit more accessible. Terrence Keel's back up, top of the lineup after going through the whole damn thing this inning. Runners at the corners.
Well, to nobody's surprise, all of my restaurant recommendations in San Antonio will be at the Tex-Mex.
I was going to ask you.
All right, let's hear what Brawny says.
Tex-Mex, yeah. 0-1. Down and away.
Pitch low and away. 1-1 for
Rosario's right
Terrence
at the
Keel.
top of the
Rosario's
list,
is at the top of the list.
And Boudreaux's on the river.
Not been to that
Boudreaux's.
one.
Okay. I recommend. the
Rosario's been
Texas
good every time
A&M.
I've gone. I don't go out of my way to go there, but I know a lot of people are high on it. I'd give it another chance. Haven't been there in a while. Haven't been to Boudreaux's on the river
I
either.
got in trouble last year by saying I would give you the credit card.
What's up, Matt
You
Dickerson?
told me that
It's been a run party.
legally I was obligated.
Rolando's,
Oh, yeah.
Delia's, Tamales.
Look,
Might be the best
if you
I've
get
ever
a
had.
bad tamale in San Antonio, it's your fault.
True.
You got me on Rosario's, though. It's incredible.
Smoked salsa. 2-1. Club to the left
Keel
side.
makes contact.
Nice
They'll
backhanded
diving
stop.
catch it.
Hernandez. Throw to first is not.
Keel beat him to first!
Run
Speed!
scores. TK
He is
gets it
speed!
out.
TK gets one home, baby.
18-0.
That's a sensational play
TK,
in the hole
dart
by
to short,
Hernandez.
one bounce,
Tried to rob
diving
TK once
catch,
again.
but TK
Gets to
outruns
his
the
feet
ball to
much
first
quicker this
base,
time,
gets
makes a
one
strong
home.
throw. Nice pick over here on the back end by Liddington, but TK gets down the line too well.
Good stuff. See, we start talking food and good
Here's
things happen.
Jace.
Jace Laviolette up, and he got this inning started with the three-run homer.
Last time up. Grand slam the at-bat prior to that. He's 2 for 3. 2 homers, 7 driven in. And a wheel towards second, no throw. He can't do that again.
Sad, I think this will be the last thing we remember of Sorrell and Grahovac when they leave after early is canned. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens.
Fonda on Main.
Chris Madrid's is really good. I don't go very often, but every time it's my favorite burger in San Antonio, James. For sure, my favorite burger. All right, Jace Laviolette up. He'll take a ball. Runners on first and second now. What's up,
9
Parzival?
homers and 34 driven in.
I like tamales. But Delia's,
Inside Arkansas was saying A&M could care less about basketball. You would rather have put that money into football. Any truth? I think football's in a great spot. I think baseball's getting renovations, and baseball has NIL going with the roster they have right now.
Want to know the game to Jace.
Basketball is due for some love, but we're about to find out how much it's being prioritized right now, Kevin. That's what makes this search fascinating.
going
Because
to San Antonio
you know,
this weekend, not for the Final
Buzz
Four,
came
but
up a little bit short,
on Monday over there.
but he had some success. He got us to relevancy for a few years. Maybe this is enough to push things forward and add more of that money investment to the basketball side of things, Kevin. But that we're about to find out because that has been the case, Kevin. But I think there's a lot of people that care about basketball right now. I think there are a lot of people that care about basketball right now. I wonder if that extends into the boosters.
Spoke to that club. He used the Henry Coleman III.
Where's Mitira on the list?
Henry when before
It's
the
good.
season, talking about
The atmosphere is like, if you're coming to San Antonio and you want to like be immersed in like that Tex-Mex culture,
Henry was talking about
yeah,
all
sure.
the
If it's your
Texas
one shot, I think there's better food out there.
means to not just him, but
It's good though. I can't hate on it. It's good. It's authentic Tex-Mex. I like
Henry
it.
just flat out got
I just think there's
I
better.
can't put it any other way.
I went
One of those that's
maybe a month ago.
to Aggies for a long
It was pretty good.
Jace.
Oh,
skies
Jace will sky out on this one.
Shallow center.
Shallow center. They'll
And
get
the
under it.
shortstop
That'll end the
Hernandez.
inning. What a party.
We go to
18 to
break,
0.
one more. La Fagata. One of my favorite places.
We will be in San Antonio the second week of June for UTSA football camp. Very nice. Very nice. Get yourself some Tex-Mex. Not the best barbecue town. We don't have as many great options as some of the other cities in Texas. However, if you want really good local barbecue in San Antonio, 2M Smokehouse. I would recommend going in off hours. Don't go between like 11:30 and 1. Go like around 2. Amazing kind of Mexican-inspired barbecue options. I always get their brisket, which is just a really good brisket. It's what you would want from a quality barbecue spot. But like their side dishes are very much Mexican-inspired. Like the beans have chicharron in them, and like all the bacon and the meats. Really good borracho beans. But the mac and cheese is really good. It's like a quality mac and cheese, but they crumble dried chicharron on top. It's so freaking good, man. That's my barbecue spots. 2M Smokehouse. Pinkerton's is really good too, but you can get that other places in Texas. But Pinkerton's is damn good. It goes toe-to-toe with it. But I would recommend, if you're in San Antonio for a visit, that. Yeah, Sorrell re-aggravated it, Parzival. It was on a low pitch. He swung low. And Brawny was saying that every time he's re-aggravated it, it's been at a low swing because that's how it's the way he drives his legs on those lower swings. And Winston Payne got kind of stiff-legged and kind of gingerly, stiffly walked into the dugout. And they were saying that he had a really negative reaction when he got into the dugout. Buzz is a quality leader, heavy measure of analytics and a bit too in his head. If Final 16 is better, if Sweet 16 and better is our goal, we can do better. I think so. Again, I like Buzz though, but yeah, we had kind of, I think we had plateaued. Trooper says, what restaurants did they say missed it? They said Rosario's. That was the big one they highlighted. I don't remember what else they said. All right, Drew, my boy, I'm late, but what are we thinking about Buzz being gone? You're going to have to rewind to the beginning of the show to get my full thoughts, but essentially, I think the timing makes sense for both parties. I think A&M and Buzz had kind of plateaued in their tenure. I think he brought us to some good, consistent relevancy, but never got us over that top hump. Losing all of his players, I think Buzz saw an opportunity to move on and get a fresh start elsewhere, and I think the timing makes perfect sense, and I think both sides are good with moving on. I think a lot of people will miss Buzz for his character and what he meant as a leader for the team and the way he represented A&M, but I just think it's a natural time to move on to the next guy. Apparently, football is the only profitable program for the Aggies. $27.7 million for 2024. That includes $27.2 million in severance payments on Jimbo. I think that's the case with most sporting programs. With most athletic departments, football is the only profitable department. I think occasionally basketball can be profitable. Rarely baseball will be profitable. I think that's the norm for most places, Jonathan. I think the premier Ooh, that guy got hit right in the hand. I think the premier basketball schools are profitable in basketball, but I would doubt A&M is that. At least consistently. My aunt owns Rosario's by the Alamo Dome and Asanar on the Riverwalk. They slap. They're really good. I was saying that I like them, but I don't go very often. I highlighted a couple places. I highlighted Maria Bonita and Tu Asador. Those are my two favorite spots. No front runners yet, Parzival. It's open. It's wide open. It's completely up in the air. Yeah, it's wide open. We don't know anything. Nothing has solidified yet. And we were talking to Cannon Torres on the Buzz Williams portion of the show, and he was saying this thing could go on a couple days, or it could extend into a couple of weeks because there is a dead period for recruiting coming up, that if A&M wanted to wait, it could buy them some time to get some interviews in. Yeah, you heard it. Sorrell is hurt, guys. Sorrell swung at a low pitch. Winston Payne limped off. Very frustrated in the dugout. I don't think baseball will ever be profitable in basketball unless we get a bigger stadium and more fans pulling up. We had a pretty big stadium for basketball, Parzival. I think Alabama's like 14K. Auburn's like 9K. I think Reed is fine. In terms of size, at least. It is kind of old. But it's not terrible. There are older stadiums out there. What up, Noble? We talked the first half of the show, or the first like 30 minutes of the show about the Buzz stuff. Now we're just having a good old laid-back watch party for baseball. There's a fly ball. Aggie should have control of this. Caden Kent under it, and we'll grab it. 2 down in the inning. You still got runners on first and second, though. Yeah, no, but we talked a lot about Buzz. But if you guys want to give your thoughts on Buzz right now and the whole move and moving off of him and, I mean, him departing, coaching search, y'all throw it there in the chat. Losing Sorella really put a damper on things. He brought new life to this offense. Yeah, he did. Of course, he wasn't 100%. We saw him running slowly, maybe being told to run slowly, and he got hurt again. Inside pitch, there will be a ball. All right, Rita's fine in size. We just need more fans pulling up. We do need to fill it out better. I always saw a noticeable number of open seats. Yes, yes. And hopefully this new hire can bring a spark. I think there is a good level of momentum in the program as a whole, at least in terms of fan buy-in, fan interest. But it's really in the balance right now, losing 8 seniors, losing a coach, going through a change. You're really going to have to get this hire right. And what we talked about was you might not know if the hire is right or not right away. Yes, you could go get a home run name, a big name. You can go get the Texas Tech coach, the Iowa State coach, and that'd be great. I think that might be ideal. But a lot of the coaches who've been successful recently, like Nate Oates, have come up from lesser programs, smaller programs, and been up-and-coming guys that have made a name for themselves at this level. So if it's some name that we're not totally excited about, I would urge a little bit of wait and see. However, given the nature of the team and losing so many players, I think the benefits of getting a more established guy are big for next season, but that is a little short-sighted. I think maybe attracting more portal guys, but we'll see. Bluebell needs expansion, yes. Think that could have been a bad coaching move to put him in when he may not have been ready? Hard to say. I mean, all the signs could say he's ready in a hitting capacity and just an unexpected aggravation right there. It's hard to say. Possibly if they knew that this was possible. But if they felt like he was comfortable, doctors were saying it's okay, he's saying it's okay. Player is confident, you know, he wants to play. I mean, some players hide this stuff. Some players really want to get out there and will hide injuries, maybe keep them under wraps a little bit. All right, TK will grab the fly out. We'll get out of the inning. Still nothing on the board for UIW. A&M has 18. Let's see if they can keep the party going at bat here. The basketball hire has a great opportunity at A&M, for sure. Don't miss Buzz. Hated the way we played over the years. Would have been worse off without some clutch individual performances. I didn't hate Buzz, but I think there's more room to achieve with someone else. I think maybe Buzz plateaued here. My thoughts, Trev Alberts showtime, 100%. Don't we have the biggest football stadium in the SEC? I think football-wise we do, yeah. I believe so. I believe so. I'm going to look at it. All right. Yep, we have the biggest football stadium. And we fill that thing out, so that's not a problem. It's just we don't fill out the basketball stadium. But hopefully, that's what I'm saying. This hire could be big to build some excitement, to kind of capitalize on being relevant for a few years. I would say basketball interest is pretty high right now. If you get the right guy, you can build on that. But if you don't, or things don't go well, or you don't get the players you want in the portal, it's a full reset. Things could plummet. So I think part of it is getting the name, but part of it is really just finding the right guy, being very careful and diligent with your interviews. Because, again, a lot of the successful coaches right now were not well-known guys before they got to their destinations, like a Nate Oates. Yeah, the football will fill up for freaking any team. No, it's not the same athletic department because it's a different AD. It's not exactly the same, Parzival. It is not the same. That was not Trev. All right, Yamal George at bat. Bottom of the fourth inning. The third inning was bountiful. He'll swing and miss. But a lot of people will judge Trev based on this hire because it's his first true full search hire, because we talked about how early was kind of the obvious choice at the time. And no one would have foreseen early going this south. Even in the worst case scenario, this is way beyond the floor. The biggest A&M cynic would have had. This was not predictable. This was not even if you were saying, okay, there's a floor here, you're below that. No one would have predicted this. I don't blame Trev for the early hire. But again, we will judge based on the follow-up to that. How you handle the baseball program going forward is where the judgment will be cast. At least from us as fans, whatever that's worth. Struck out Yamal George there. Maybe we get more fans in the stands if we have a more aesthetically pleasing style of play. It's possible. Buzz' style wasn't the most exciting. But still, you did have Wade Taylor, one of the best Aggies of all time. I mean, he's a draw. I was surprised to see that Auburn game only at like 85%. The shoe, the big house, Happy Valley are the bigger ones. Is the shoe bigger?
The right-hander Solomon James, his second relief appearance. 1-0.
I think you're missing. Did you say the big house? You said the big house. Okay.
I know it's just a second appearance, but for Solomon James going forward.
Drag, you're hurt from the Buzz thing. Yeah, you're right. It is Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan.
I mean, it's just in a game like this.
No, all three you said were right. People would have shown up if he would have built more effort building a relationship with the fans. It did seem like a very close-knit basketball program. They were about each other more than anything, which is cool to see. They did represent A&M, but there was a bit of a disconnect between the coaching staff and the fan base. You could detect that. You could feel that, especially later in the tenure. But I think some players were very grateful for A&M, like Andy Garcia and Wade Taylor. Other guys have really, and Henry Coleman, lifetime Aggies there. But I think as a whole, you're right. There was a disconnect between Buzz and the fans. I think there really was a distance there. Whereas a guy like Elko is very A&M oriented, very about Aggie land. All right, we're getting some subs here. We had Hayden Shaw. We have Galloway now. We had Yamal George. Up 18. Run rule coming up. Hopefully, you're going to see some guys who haven't played in a while get some action. And that confirms Caden Sorrell is down for the day after the injury. We already did call-ins, Noble. Do you want to call in? I'll let you call in. I have a bad feeling interest in basketball will go down now that Wadey is gone. Yeah, that's why you have to capitalize right now. It's a big hire. You got to find the right guy. The shoe's bigger by 50 seats. That's crazy. Little slow bouncer, but it'll roll out. Foul ball. State of the Union moment for A&M Athletics, I know. We did at the beginning of the show, but if you want to call in, I'll let you. Let me know. What up, Ronnie Barker out of Tokyo? Good to see you, man. Wonder who's next. It's really up in the air right now. Again, it's about just being diligent with these interviews, I think, unless there's just a home run guy that emerges. This thing could go a lot of different directions, a lot of names you don't expect, and again, some of those guys have been really successful in college basketball, and the name I'll keep bringing up is Nate Oates. So let's just see what Trev can detect in these interviews. All right, 1-1 for Galloway. Outside. In the past year and some change, we have replaced the university system chancellor, the president, our athletics director, football coach, baseball coach, basketball. It is full transition time, and Trev is the lead man right now of these athletics, so it's a big era of Aggie athletics for him to navigate. Plus, you have revenue sharing, very likely coming right up, the ever-changing NIL landscape, a lot of things, man. 18-0, yes, sir, Jeb, it's been good. I didn't realize there was a disconnect between Buzz and the fans. What was it? It just seemed like, I don't know, in the recent interviews, Buzz talked about how there's a lot of negativity coming in from our side. And we haven't had like this love affair with the basketball team coming from the coaching side that I've detected, that I've noticed too much. I don't know if a disconnect's the right word, but I don't think it was as... I don't know if Buzz was as Aggieland oriented as a guy like Elko is. That's just my perspective, though. Was he hard to save money, or does he seem like the best man for the job? Well, he's making his money. It's like $7 million a year, something like that. A lot of bonuses built into it for winning and achieving. I think he was the right man for the job. I think that was as good as it could have gotten for the hire. Outside of like some established guy who's killing it somewhere, like why would they leave though?
So Caden Kent is 2 for 2, 2 singles, 2 walks, both those singles right up the middle.
Aggie basketball is gutted. It is gutted. It's a big transition year for them. Let me know anybody call in after this inning. I'm gonna use the restroom at the end of this inning, then we'll do it.
In his first at bat, good signs. Arrow pointing in the right direction for Kent.
Bases loaded, one down. Binder up. Binder up already has a 3-run shot this game.
He does. He hit a 3-run home run in the second, part of a 7-run inning.
Yeah, and there has been
Catches the outside corner.
insider reports that Buzz has been looking to leave for 2 years now.
Nashville, Baton Rouge, I think.
I believe he was looking elsewhere last offseason, according to insiders. I think Oklahoma State was one of the teams cited.
Totally understand. 0-1.
0-2 for Binder up so far.
Lived in the state of
Buzz didn't seem
Louisiana,
as invested in Aggie culture as Elko does. I think Buzz treated us like any other school he's been to. Yes.
Plenty of trips to Red Stick.
Bases are loaded, 1 away. Ball and a strike to Blake Benderup.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if Payne or Solo look to go with him. Binder up makes contact. It's going to be a fly ball between left and center.
Calabrese
Center fielder under it, grabs it.
grab.
2 down.
Tags from third.
Shots and a tag up, and with his
Galloway
elite
to
speed,
third.
he'll touch
Shot
home.
crosses the plate, 19-0
19-0.
Sacrifice fly for Blake Benderup.
Good stuff, Binder up.
That
Good
is
stuff.
His 5th RBI of the game.
Yeah, Buzz has been a mover in his tenure, right? It's been about 5 years at his major stops, Marquette, Virginia Tech, and now A&M.
And you're looking at, he just misses this elevated curve.
That's what I'm saying, Noble. It's going to be gutted either way. So you had a transition coming up. Natural time to move on for both parties.
Good job getting the run home, and Shotty's going, thanks for hitting it so deep.
He was able.
All right, we got runners at the corners. Ben Royo also has a 3-run shot this game. We have 2 out.
First pitch
Foul ball
swinging.
contact for Ben Royo, who's been just a solid addition to this lineup.
Has driven in 4, singled and scored in the second, 3-run home run in the 11-run third, and a base.
Ben Royo, Bear Harrison have been great additions to this lineup over the last couple of weeks. Of course, Kentucky, the story was pitching.
7 driven in.
In both games 2 and 3, you had multiple run pitching holes that just essentially ended the game.
Kent at first. Galloway's at third.
I'm still sweating from the salsa I took earlier, y'all. I am still sweating and burning. I hope Payne stays. Solo's cool, but take him or leave him. But we shouldn't do what we did in baseball, which is hire the coach to make the player stay. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. This is a very important coaching search. We have to be very diligent in your interview process. Don't necessarily go off of name, although I think a name, if it lines up, would carry a lot of value given this reset, given the portal era, the portal period coming up, building quickly. You just got to get it right, first and foremost.
Runners at the corners, 2 away.
All right. 1-2 for Ben Royo.
Royo chops that just wide.
Just outside the third baseline. It'll be a foul ball. The whole team leaves. Look at the history of Buzz. The whole team being 2 players now, so we can survive it, although it'd be great to get Payne back. Payne's a good dude, too. I like Payne a lot.
Oh, Flemings. I see.
Is something wrong with that?
Still 1-2 for Ben Royo.
Doesn't take you to nice dinners on the road.
No nice seafood dinner for me.
Still 2 down in the
1
inning.
and 2 to count the Royal. Flemings is a great place. Again,
Another foul ball.
I mean, that's high. Yeah, he must have gotten the company credit card.
The kids commit to him, but not the school. Yeah, and we had someone close to the program talk at the top of the show about how these kind of awkward couple of weeks where Buzz was eyeing the job at Maryland, these portal visits we had were led by assistants, and they were pitching A&M because Buzz had a foot out the door. So at least you had that cleaned up and taken care of, even though it was probably awkward. 1-2 for Royo in the dirt. That's going to get one home. We're up to 20 runs. Galloway touches home, 20-0.
Spike fastball, and Bane Gray tries to pick it.
Buzz Williams and the crew, you're making it sound like a
Spike
carnival.
fastballs that not really much catchers can do with them. You got to kind of go with the glove, but you know, to me, James
Yeah,
isn't throwing
yeah,
hard
exactly,
enough.
Noble. And there were a
Try to
lot of them,
slide with
too.
your shin guards there to put that one on your body and keep it in front of you.
Second run here in the
We had someone predict that A&M wins the series this weekend. Jonathan Ortiz. I don't know if he's still in the chat. Bold prediction. Inside pitch. Full count now.
To Royal.
We're going to extend this thing with 2 outs.
Jose Bluta continues to throw in the Incarnate Word bullpen. 3-2 to Royal. Kent leads from second base. 2 are in. It's 20-0 Texas A&M.
What Monaco said.
James disengages, bluffs a throw to second.
Well, the only
All right.
flaws I can find with the Aggies tonight is that missed extra point.
3-2. Ben Royo.
Royo
Been keeping him busy this at-bat. Been a long at-bat. Oh, check swing. And they're going to say he went. The pitch was in the dirt, but he pulled too late. I'm going to use the restroom real quick, and we'll get Noble. And Noble has some words about the coaching stuff. Got to get it out of the way.
2 more here in the 4th. Take a 20-0 lead as Incarnate Word will bat in the 5th. This is Aggie Baseball from Learfield.
Jonathan says it's going to happen. A&M shocks the world. Yeah, I was talking about how Tennessee this weekend, it's a daunting task, but that makes it a great opportunity if you can find a way to do it. Feels unlikely, seems unlikely. You're going to have both bats and pitching come together. Because I think we have seen improvement in the bats, but this weekend the pitching really just failed us. All right, Noble, I'll throw the call-in link in the chat right now for you to click so we can get Noble in here.
Defy expectations.
All right, we're going to have Noble Guy on the call here. Is there a bug on my head? There was a bug on my head. What the hell? That bug probably died from touching my salsa-infested sweat. Is the mic working? Yes, it is. All right. All right, Noble. The link is in the chat. We're going to get Noble on the horn here to talk some Aggie coaching moves. Want to get his take. Noble's a friend of the channel. Noble has some really good takes, man. It's good to hear from him today. You going to be here for the Maroon and White game? I'm going to be at the game, yes. Yes, I am. I am foregoing a family Easter dinner to go to the game. Because they put it right at the same time as the game. Does that make me a bad person? Maybe. All right, Noble, it's there. Is that Grant Cunningham in the game? No, it's not. Who is this? All right, no problem. I want to see who this pitcher is.
Gray Bain takes a fastball inside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Gavin Lyons may have earned himself an appearance this weekend against the Volunteers.
1-0 to Bain. Swing and a miss.
Good pitch right there.
96.
Peyton Smith's got a big arm.
Peyton
The issue
Smith.
has just been throwing it over the plate and landing a secondary pitch to go along with it.
This is hit well to
Contact on that one, deep left. Oh, no. Peyton Smith's third pitch will be a homer and UIW's first run of the game. Got to get the reps now, man. You got an opportunity. You have no risk of losing this game right now. You just need to get these pitches under your belt if you're Peyton Smith.
It's 20-1.
I think it was a pop fly, sack fly by Binderup, and then a wild pitch, James Ellis, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, just an elevated fastball in the middle of the plate, pulls his hands in. And
yeah, Peyton Smith, the junior, out of Springfield. Gavin Cash did get injured, and that's why Binderup pinched in for him the other day. And I was weirded out by that. We're getting too cute again, but Cash was injured.
Second base, fastball away. 1 ball and no strikes. That is his 3rd home run in 4 games. He had 2 against Lamar.
Foul ball contact, a missile to the mound in right field. That was dangerous, but it hits the netting. Oof, that would hit somebody in the head. That could have been lethal.
First home run was
All right, we got Noble Guy on. Noble, how you feeling, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, interesting time to be alive. I think the
Hasn't this year been so interesting, man?
interesting. That's the word to choose among
Yeah.
many of them.
Dude, it's been
Yeah.
crazy. It's been insane. I mean, so many changes in our school, but in the athletic department.
It's no, and then I think everyone's kind of looking at it back right now, like how much change has happened since in the last like 10, 12 years, just being in the SEC alone. Like 3 or 4 different ADs, 3 coaches, football coaches, and then multiple basketball coaches, baseball coaches. I mean, baseball alone, if you go back and look at the history of A&M baseball coaches, for the most part, in the last like 50 years, we each one has stayed a minimum 15 years. And now Schloss stayed 3 years and early. I mean, we'll see how that goes, but that doesn't look like a 15-year hire right now, to be honest.
No, I know it's crazy. I wonder if that's part of the modern landscape or if that's just some failed
Well, I mean,
evals.
as far as baseball goes, A&M baseball's been really blessed in the sense of like we've had good coaches. Now, none of them have taken us to a World Series like a run like that before, but like we've always had a historically very good program. As far as the rest of it goes, I don't know. Like we I think it's as simple as we've made bets on certain coaches and it just hasn't panned out. Um,
Yeah.
and then just like everybody else, it just right now it's compounding all at the same time. It's been a rough 10 months.
It's been real rough, man, and it's gotten rougher recently. I think the roughness started with the football collapse, which really was the kind of culminated in that Texas game. I realized, dude,
Yeah.
the day after the Texas game, that next evening, I caught a fever. And I wonder if I was just so sick from that game. That game just made me sick. So I had like a
Made you
migraine that
physically
night,
sick.
physically sick, and I was puking on Monday. Missed like 3 days of work. So that's kind of where it started. The bowl game collapse was, equally brutal. Not equally brutal, but very, very sour end to the season.
Yeah.
And this is coming off the heels of Schloss. And now baseball, basketball, you had this really promising run of seniors.
We were
And
counting on the sports to essentially make up for
both
football.
spring sports, yeah, they were both
Yeah.
looking really good. Like you win a couple tournament games. That one, the way it happened, the way it went down against Michigan, you give up a 10-point lead, and obviously, what can we say about baseball? It's been just a shock. So
Yeah. At this point, I'm almost numb to it. Like the best way to approach the baseball season, I think, is to essentially measure failure and how much failure can you take. Because this, unless there's some sort of, and I don't, I actually, I with, I was messaging Jonathan in the group chat. I don't think a win over or Tennessee is the craziest thing to say. Like this is and I'll kind of spell it out for us. Like we got roughed up pitching wise, by a unique offense in Kentucky.
yeah,
Um, and so we're not going to see that kind of offense again. Typically, Tennessee doesn't need to do that. They're more traditional, like hammer you away kind of offense. But we can deal with that as long as the starting pitching hasn't absolutely collapsed. I think they can give us a shot at it. And then if the hitting continues what it is, Tennessee has a pretty small ballpark. So
yeah.
the wind's blowing in the right direction. We can see some pretty our starting pitching can give us any kind of length, and then our hitting continue its trend, and it's possible. And now that's just for the series. That's
But shoot,
I don't know.
what could a couple or even a win, what could that do for a season? That could be huge. And Sorrell looks like he's gonna miss more time, maybe out for the year. Just speculating. That injury looked pretty rough. I mean, there's still talent here. There's still some good
Yeah.
players. You have a Ben Royo emerging and a Bear Harrison. If
Well,
you can just you have shortcomings. You're never gonna hit the marker you had going into the year. It's just not on the table anymore. But if you
mhm.
can have a stretch of games where you have decent pitching, your hitting stays at least somewhat, it builds on itself a little bit, like we've been seeing. There's a couple of series you could win with the talent you have, but the season doesn't get any easier, man. It's gonna be
No,
tough.
not at all. Um, and quite frankly, like the crazy part is like all I've done is expand the range what this team is capable of. So, it, well, I've lowered the ceiling of the team. We're not winning a championship, but that being said, we can still, believe it or not, I still think this team can make a postseason run if everything comes together. Now that's a big old if. More that being said, the floor is like absolutely dropped out, and there's an absolute shot we can not win a single SEC series. Don't think that's going to be the case, but that's unfortunately that's on the table.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I
and
hope like going up against the top team in the country brings something out of them, brings a level of focus. But we've hoped for that before. Going on the road to
yeah,
Vandy, I was hoping that would bring the team together. The opener versus Bama, I was hoping that would give it to us. But if it's not one thing, it's another. And early in the year, it was batting. It was like just the bats are failing us. And then I would say they've marginally improved, but then we've had this fielding problem that comes up every now and then, and most lately it's pitching. So when can it all come together?
Yeah, and this is the whole thing that you can dive into for quite a while. But essentially, the reason why I think we can beat Tennessee this week is because I think I've seen enough where like, hey, the ship is starting to turn now. Is it fast enough? Is it actually to that degree? Probably not. But it may be enough, especially if we catch Tennessee sleeping on us. Like everyone knows that we're dead in the water. It's kind of That's how everyone's looking at us right now. So this is our chance to try to catch someone sleeping.
Dead in the water,
Obviously,
low expectations now, but still a talented team that's still there.
yeah, like that's what ultimately gives me hope. Like you still have the arms, the starting arms, and the hitting looks like it's coming together. So if ultimately, I think like if you lose the series, the rest of the season, it's gonna come out of the bullpen because that's just gonna be an ongoing issue.
Yeah.
I don't see that being fixed anytime soon. Um, and then I think as far as what this team is playing for, quite frankly, is like I'm of the mind. I think Trev Alberts and the administration is going to be give early one more year, but quite frankly, it's like he's trying to buy himself like that ability to get to the second year because he's got to show like an ability to grow. I'm almost of the mind though, because I do think A&M baseball is one of the better programs in the country, historically too.
Yeah.
That we're not a figure it out kind of job. Like we expect to be in a postseason every single year,
Yeah.
and I'll give you a pass on 1 year maybe, but you got to show me something at the back of the half of the year to let you earn that. And if I'm Trev Alberts, I'm at least exploring the option of other coaches.
Yeah.
Just as a backup alternative. Like hopefully, I do hope and I was hyped on early too. Like I love the fact that the players loved him and he was a hitting coach that for a very successful offense, but he does look a little lost out there. He's made some, questionable decisions, and
Yeah.
the thing is, like, if he gets better, like, I don't know if it's good enough to like next year's the year too, because I don't want to see 2 years of postseason because that's how you kill a program. Like if you're gonna, you know, like screw up this bad, like let's just pull the bandit off and start over, like kind of basketball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if he puts together a few SEC series wins to close the year out, he could be retained. It could happen, but right now it
I
looks
think
like
so.
it's going
Yeah.
a certain way though, and I know I haven't seen a strong indication that it's just going to all of a sudden improve. There have been small things here and there, so we'll see. It's definitely a conversation that needs to be had soon. But I'm still giving this team the respect of watching them play out, giving them chances
course.
week to week.
Yeah.
Hell, we're doing a watch party on a Tuesday for them, so yeah. And they've had a good game today. Some bad pitching from UIW, but it's got to feel good for the team though. So we'll see, man. I'll try to go live for one of the games this weekend, and we can talk about it then too.
Yeah. And then as far as basketball goes, like I don't know. I would have if Buzz had stayed, it'd been like, okay, let's try it again. But it would have been a little more lackluster in the relationship, especially like it was very apparent at the end of the season, like he was looking elsewhere. So I don't even know what he would have done or what it looked like if he had stayed. So that whole opens up a can of worms. We're not, a top tier basketball program, but we don't. I think we could do better than round of 32 every year.
Yeah, and we've been present. Buzz at least kept us present in the seasons. He had these SEC tournament runs the last couple of years, got us to the tournament a couple of years in a row. It's not like we've been cellar dwellers, so maybe a coach out there believes that A&M is the program that can, would be the match to help him elevate his career and maybe do something that hasn't been done yet. Obviously, A&M can pay what a lot of other schools are paying, match whatever paycheck, maybe give a better pay raise to someone. There's reason for hope there, but it's such a big coaching search, man. We don't know where it goes. We don't know who the candidates are. We don't know what coaches are looking A&M's way. We don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, have y'all discussed any potential candidates at all yet?
Yeah, I mean, we gave a couple of the big names, but like a guy like Nate Oates came from, a much lesser school. He was an up-and-comer, so it could be a guy like that, but it's the classic names. It's the Chris Beard. It's the Fred Hoiberg out of Nebraska, who has previous experience with Chicago and Iowa State, Chicago Bulls and Iowa State. It's Grant McCaslin out of Texas Tech, the Iowa State coach whose name always escapes me. Those are the big names that are coming up. But I would like a big name because next year, like we talked about, you're losing so many players, and maybe a name like that could attract more portal stuff. But I think more importantly than that, it's about really being diligent in these interviews and finding a guy who can build and sustain and elevate a program. because we're dealing with such a reset here. It's such a delicate situation. You've dealt with so much coaching turnover as an athletic department. You really got to get it right. It's such a big one.
Yeah, and I will say this: like we're the basketball program is essentially start from scratch. I think that as negative as that can be, turned can be viewed. It can also be viewed as a positive because in this day and age, like yes, it sucks. Like players can essentially coaches can just take their players and go elsewhere, but we can do the same thing. So we have the ability to if we have the resources and we're willing to spend them, then like hey, go get a good coach, and then he'll bring his players with him, and then
Yeah.
it good enough that he'll keep the Farrell Payne and anyone else that wants to stay as well.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that's a big deal there because that's two ready-made guys you get. I know Solo's probably capped with like offensive stuff, but he's a great, glue guy, I would think, a strong rebounder, great defender, great shot blocker. There's a lot of things to like with those two guys, and that's part of the battle of building this new roster. But something that's like maybe not the number one priority, but I would like a coach that really kind of leverages the 12th man, because I don't think Buzz really did that. He wasn't really a big, I don't think he was a big unifier with the fan base as much as we liked him and respected him for a lot of reasons. I think there's probably a coach out there that can maybe do a better job of getting Reed filled, because that's a big kind of untapped resource, I would say, in basketball, because we've had a lot of trouble filling that thing up. I would like to see a guy that can get that done.
Yeah, and I think we don't need. I mean, we're not obviously. I'm not saying we're getting Bruce Pearl. I'm saying like what we need is a Bruce Pearl type, because Auburn was never known for its basketball program.
Yeah,
and he built that program up. It was a football first school. It's like, and that's what it is. I heard someone describe it like we, all these major schools in the SEC are not predominantly as basketball schools, like Florida's, your Auburn's, your Alabama's, but they're football schools that love their basketball and then still put a lot of resources into it that do a good job. And then they've built up their programs and built the fan buy-in.
yeah,
So we need someone with, that energy. And then like I really admire Bruce Pearl to be able to, he fires up his fan base. I love that he does that for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one piece of the puzzle there. There's a lot of things they got to get right, and I know a lot of people are kind of on edge with the AD, but again, I don't fully blame him for the early situation. That was to me a no-brainer. It was the way to go. No one in the world would have foreseen it going this bad, but here we are with another big coaching search. I haven't been doing this for very long, and I've covered several coaching searers. I started in 2022, and I've covered 4 if you include Stoops and Elko. So. Yeah.
Oh God.
It's been crazy.
Yeah. No. Oh God. No. Please, yeah. We survived the Stoops era of A&M football.
What a dark night. What a dark night that was. I remember I was I think I've told this story to you maybe, but I was at a vacation at a hunting property, and I was like in the corner with the only charger in the darkness while everyone was out drinking, just like refreshing, like for 3 hours straight that night, like at midnight.
That was your equivalent to my Luka moment.
Oh, no. Dude, even a Spurs fan and an A&M fan, stopped and refreshed for the Luka situation.
I was like, no, because I was out on a hunting trip as well, and I was like, and everyone was like, no, we'll get off. We're like, I can't. This is
Dude.
Real, right?
Oh, you were literally doing the same thing. That's so funny. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Man, I can't imagine you're a Cowboys fan too, right?
Oh God. By birth, not by choice. Let me put it that way.
I think most are. Yeah. So you're Cowboys, you're the Luka situation Mavs, and you're A&M in this era. You're down bad, man. He's down so bad that he was.
It's not great. But we like I think God made Aggies the strongest people in the world based on all the shit that's happened to us.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think the best thing as far as how to maintain positivity and all of this is like, it's eventually got to bottom out somewhere.
Yeah.
And you got to think about the next moves from there rather than just wallowing. At least that's what I'm trying to do.
We got to get a lot of things right, but this university, College Station, has too much to offer to stay down. It will not stay down. Hopefully this is the bottom of it. It feels like it can't get too much worse than this, but hey, I feel pretty decent about a lot of things with the football. Did you want to give any spring football takes while I have you here?
I just really can't wait to see the offense go to work. I think the offense they're going to be exciting to see, in more of a spread out, and a little more dynamic passing attack. And on top of that, I think in the spring game, if the defense has a good amount of success, not that I'm predicting it is, but if it does, then that's a good sign because I expect the offense to be steps ahead of the defense right now based on the personnel alone. Um, so if we see like some pretty good especially if Cassius Howell is like getting after it in the spring, then that's a great sign. I think.
Yeah, I'll
That's
be
my
watching that
most
D line for sure. But I think, man, I want to see the secondary in the spring game not give up these like head scratching
Ooh,
busts. Like
yeah, that
they
would
can
be a
get
huge.
beat.
That's going to be something measurable. We can watch. That's something we can easily monitor.
They're all
This
playing
spring.
besides Chappelle, right? So it should be a pretty good marker. We might have, the Washington transfer playing slot or Bravian Rogers, but outside of that, it's a lot of the mainstays in the secondary. I would not be mad if they got beat because I think this offense could be pretty damn good. But I don't want to see these like head scratching, like what are you doing, bus, where there's two guys standing next to each other. We cannot see that.
Yeah. Do you think you think the team's going to do a team draft again?
I hope we find out this week. I feel like that question should be asked at the presser this week. That's a really good question. I would guess so, because I think it hides a lot of what you're trying to do, at least from like the keen eyes in the scouting rooms. So I think it's good in that regard. The thing you can still gather though that I'm really curious about in this spring game is like, who are they willing to play as combinations on the defensive line? Who are they willing to play at corner? I'm looking to see which guys play which position because it might not be a starter. It might not even be a second string that you see out in a starting lineup in a spring game. But I'm just curious to see like who's playing strong side defensive end on first down. That's a very big question I have. Who's kind of the backup nickel? Who are all the nickels we see in the game? Are they willing to move any guy that's like a known safety or corner to nickel, given you're a man down with Chappelle right now? Those are the kind of things I'm looking at, even if it's that mix and match thing you're talking about with the draft.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got one question for you. All right, if you could have one wish in regards to A&M football next season, you can't say like we want to go undefeated or something like that. What would it be? One thing that you could get out of this team.
Okay, so if we're going big picture, I think I threw this around when we were first looking at the schedule. I want to protect Kyle Field. I think there's a really, really good chance, not guaranteed, but a solid chance that A&M can go undefeated at home next year. And there are some tough games, man. Auburn's going to be better. Florida's going to be better. But they're in Kyle Field, and I think A&M should improve next year, and it's the road games that are really scary. I think my one like big overarching wish is to go undefeated at home next year. It's tough. I mean, it's life in the SEC. These teams are good. But I think it's something that A&M's capable of doing next year because obviously Notre Dame's on the road, Texas is on the road, LSU's on the road. So Missouri's on the road, obviously, in Arkansas. But those home games are doable, man. That's my kind of big picture wish next year.
That's a good one. Obviously got to defend the home front.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
I think
we got AT in the chat. Thank you for reminding me of names, which I'm terrible with. Jordan Shaw out of Washington played slot corner there. Really solid. They kind of switched between the nickel and the three linebacker look quite a bit at Washington. He wasn't out there every play like A&M will have, 5 DBs out there at a time, but he was solid in his time, and he's getting a lot of reps this spring with Chappelle down. So I'd be really curious to see him in the spring game. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Also, Bravian Rogers in that nickel now that you have BJ Mays and Jaden Hill moving on. But yeah, thanks for chiming in, AT. I just laid some groundwork with AT to come on for a preseason show around fall camp, so you'll be seeing him on the channel later.
Aggies today?
Yeah, the one and only.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
First y'all are hearing of it.
Yeah, it's sweet. No, I love AT. He's got great stuff. Yeah, so it's excited to see that he's back on Instagram. So back where he belongs. Yeah, he just shout out to AT. He's got a brand new Instagram, so everyone go follow him.
Yeah,
I think he was off Instagram doing some other stuff.
I don't think it was by his choice. I think he keeps getting banned from Instagram for some reason. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what's going on out there.
Yeah. So hey, the haters are hating, but they can't keep him down.
They can't keep him down. He's gonna keep trying. It's like the Michael Scott Paper Company. I don't know if you watch The Office. It's like if it dissolves, I'll just make another one and another and another. That's AT on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'd say for me, if I had one wish out of this whole season that's not win or loss related, it would be let's get our QB1 throughout the entire season.
Ooh, that is good.
The entire season. When was the last time we saw that?
Was that Kellen?
It was Kellen. Oh my God.
It was.
Oh no.
Kellen.
And mind you, Kellen played 2020, so he didn't even play a full 12 games.
Dude, when's the last time we saw a quarterback make it 12 games? It was 2019, Kellen.
Had a bit,
So
yeah,
it's been
2019.
6 years, man. It's been 6 years. Let's get Reed healthy. O-line should help him out in that regard. And I know Reed he said he wants his playing weight to be like 190, 195. Take a couple more licks, as he put it. That'd be huge. But hey, let's see what this quarterback 2 battle looks like. Zeno, quality veteran coming in. I mean, Miles O'Neal. Every time we've seen Miles, he's looked good. So that'll be interesting to watch, but hopefully we don't have to use him.
Yeah. Do you have any idea who that may be? But if you had a guess between I think blanking on his name, is it Leon or
no? Jacob Zeno, Leon.
Well, Jacob Zeno and the other the
Miles O'Neal,
the one we had who played last year. Miles O'Neal. That's it. Yeah, Miles. Yeah, like who do you think it'll be between the two? I assume it'll be Jacob, but I mean Miles looks pretty good.
I assume so, and I would think if it's like Reed gets nicked up and he's out for a game and maybe he misses the next non-con game, something like that, I would think it's Zeno. But I don't know, man. If Reed gets knock on wood, if something major happens to Reed, I don't know. Miles O'Neal has great upside. He's been here. But the thing is, I don't know who's the better system fit for what Klein's building around Marcel. And I think we saw like the two opposing, contrasting styles in quarterback last year and having to switch out Connor for Marcel. That was a detriment to the passing game and the offense when after Moss went down. So maybe Zeno can do more stuff that Marcel does. Maybe it's just the safer choice. But man, Miles, he looks legit, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's fine. The only time we'll ever need them to play is, in the fourth quarter, in the garbage time when we're winning by a lot. Because Marcel's going to be healthy the whole season, right? Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. The only time we'll need Jacob Zeno's in the fourth quarter of the Texas game when we're up 40-0, right? That's the only time we'll need to see him.
Exactly. Yeah, we're just going to roll out the entire, bench warmers in Austin. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game, in all honesty. But hey, let's see what this team can do.
I don't even want to think about
these
that
games.
yet.
I mean, on the road at Death Valley this year, maybe this is the year we can
do
it.
We finally win in Death Valley? Can we get a win in Death Valley?
I'm feeling like dropping that bold prediction on X just to see what happens. I have a few. I've found some. I have to announce this. I have found some good LSU mutuals on Twitter. It's been a long time coming. I've been on Twitter.
Really? On Twitter of all places?
I've been on Twitter, as Drewtamu for since 2020. But I've been on
Twitter. That's not. Are you sure? You didn't find Clemson Valley, Death Valley?
No. There's 3 of them that are really cool. They're actually cool. We have some good banter. I'm surprised, man. I found them, but I'm thinking about dropping the bold prediction that A&M wins in Death Valley. Is it Death Valley? They're Death Valley too, right? Yeah, we win in LSU.
Yeah, they're
year,
both Death Valleys.
Just to stir things up and see what happens.
I need to see what LSU's kind of. I think I say it could be done every year, to be fair, but it's gonna be a lot in what happens with LSU's defense, I think. And here's another thing,
and their O-line.
LSU, and they're replacing O-line. So there's some people pretty high on what LSU can do. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Dude, I got to do a deep dive into them. I know it's going to be about defensive upside. I feel like that thing should be ticking forward a little bit, getting under year 2, under that entire staff revamp that they did the year before. And then obviously getting
Blake,
Nuss back.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah. Getting Nuss back, getting the receivers they added. But the O-line, I mean, that's a big deal, replacing 4 starters on the O-line, including a couple of NFL bookends. That's a tough ordeal for an
Their wide receiver as well is gone. Their top wide receiver is gone.
Yeah, but I think they reloaded pretty well, and they were good at receiver last year. They're gonna miss Lacey, but I don't know. I think they're in a similar receiver spot.
I think Lacey's better than the guy they brought in now. The guy they brought in now from Oklahoma, Nick Anderson, I think, was
possibly
pretty injury prone.
You could be right. We'll see if he gets back to form and he progresses and matures. He could be really good, but. Getting the quarterback is huge. It's just their O-line is my big question about them. I think it's an opportunity for A&M, but let's see what A&M does. I'm obviously, it happens every year. I'm starting to talk myself into A&M quite a bit, but I got to see this defense. And I think the big my big overarching kind of talking point about the team, I'm thinking how I'm feeling about it from way out perspective, is you got to hit the upside of either the defense as a whole, where there's a lot of questions, secondary and D-line, or you got to hit the upside with Marcel Reed on the offense to get to that 9-win marker. I think one of those two things have to hit. And if they both hit, well, this is a playoff team. We have the talent. We have the horses to do it. But those are the two things. Like, you got to get the best out of that D-line. You got to hammer out your D-tackle rotation. You got to find your strong side defensive end. Secondary has to improve. Or you got to get the top upper echelon, realm of possibility outcomes from Marcel Reed. Those are the big things right there. And obviously one of those things is the entire defense. So that's a huge, huge deal. But I do think the offense will have a pretty high floor. Anyway, that's kind of like my big picture thought towards the team right now. It's like you got to hit on one of those two things. Either like defense has to be solid overall. You can't have like I'm worried about the rigidity of like the backup D tackles. I like Regis. I think Hicks has a chance to make a name for himself this year. We got to see it. But beyond that, it's Onyedum, and he's a great backup. Or maybe he'll play some strong side defensive end. But who else is the D tackle that steps up there? That's the stuff I'm looking at. That's kind of my big picture view.
Defensive edges can eat from there. And I think we have the offense. I just need to see if that offense can click from the day one. Like, we show something.
I'm kind of losing you. You have to repeat. Sorry, you're kind of cutting out right now. Uh-oh, I'm losing Noble.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
Mic check. Oh, cool. What part did I cut out? Did y'all catch any of that?
I just heard you chime in about like maybe defensive end or edge or something. You were cutting out a lot.
Oh, well, I was just saying like, yeah, I was just saying like, so I think our best shot at success for next season is to stay in a constant attack mode, where our offense essentially dictates the tone, and we can't go down. And if we go down by much, it has to be down by one possession at a time. Anyone gets up on us, they're going to just by multiple possessions, they're going to run right at our weakness, literally. Whereas I think if we get ahead and we can stay ahead if we force them into passing situations, because then our defensive edges can really eat from there.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see that angle. And if you get a team in a position where they can kind of go slow on us, run at us, go down the middle on us, if that ends up being a weakness, like that's very possible that it is. Yeah, absolutely. I will say though, regarding the offense, as much as it has the upside of being a strong ball control, run heavy offense, you have some serious playmakers out there. They might be hitting a lot of short game. They might be doing a lot of runs, a lot of power runs like Klein likes to do, a lot of zone read, RPO, short stuff. Some of those guys can break off some major plays. Craver and Concepcion.
We got some speed now.
Bussy, Owens. I mean, dude, you could make up some ground.
Concepcion.
But you're absolutely right that a defense could control the game against us if that run defense is indeed a weakness like we've identified it could be. So we'll see, man. We'll see. All right, Noble, I'm going to get you out of here. I'm actually going to get off the stream now. But I appreciate the good long call. I think this is going to be our call-in show for the week. But I'll be going hopefully live either Friday or Saturday. One of the weekend games for Tennessee, so I hope to see you there.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, hey, good checking everybody. Hey, guys, there's only so far we can go down. Just remember that. Eventually, we're going to fire somebody and we'll hire somebody. That's the best way to think about it.
That has been the case. All right, Noble. You have a good night. Appreciate you, man. Good checking.
Later, guys. Gig 'em.
Gig 'em. All right, guys. The Ags are up 21-1. I'm going to call the show here. Thank you guys for being here in this, kind of hybrid show. We talked about Buzz Williams at the top of the show. If you missed that, rewind. We get into it about 5 minutes in. I get right into this stuff about Buzz. We had a really good caller early on, Cannon Torres, who is in the know in the basketball stuff for A&M. Been talking to some portal players. He's very knowledgeable. Y'all rewind it. Check him out. Go follow him on social media, Cannon Torres. Thanks to Noble Guy, and thanks to everybody in the chat who checked in. BTTS, Parzival. No shot we win at LSU this year? I'm not there. I'm not no shot. I might be my bold prediction. I might drop that in a couple of weeks on social media. Jonathan says, read with more confidence, more RPO, more wins. We can get space with receivers. Yeah, I think so. Troy's no longer a Longhorn? What happened, Troy? Troy, what are we doing? Troy, it happened again? Troy, you have to explain yourself while I'm on before I get off. What happened? Good night, G-Money. Jonathan Ortiz, appreciate you. Parzival. I think Troy's trolling. I hope you mean you're a Texas Rangers fan, Troy. Whatever happened. LCS Donovan Green. Yeah, he does. We'll see how he rebounds. He was a good enough Aggie to where I'm not going to condemn Donovan, but it does suck he went there. Look at the date. I don't get it. I don't see a date. You said hook 'em. Is it because you lost another bet? I don't understand. I don't understand. Later, noble guy. 4-1. Oh, that was the first April Fools of the chat. Well done, Troy. You got us there. Dang it. Dang it, Troy. That was a good one. All right, y'all. It was a good Aggie baseball showing today. Let's hope we can build on it. I will see you guys this weekend for the Tennessee series. Y'all take care.